Uncle Tien, we're here to chat with you.
Oh? What a lovely surprise. Welcome. Hoishin, why don't you go downstairs and get the shopkeeper to make us a fresh pot of tea? I heard that you've been traveling all over the place recently. I would very much like to hear your adventure stories. Hoishin told you, didn't she? Don't worry, I'm quite all right. It's just the years gradually catching up with me. As I grow older, I'm starting to find that with many things, though the mind is willing, the flesh is weak. Especially recently, I've noticed a rather drastic drop in my energy levels. I am still very much in good standing as the Tianshu today. Nevertheless, I wish to pass on the position before my mental acuity begins to decline beyond redemption.
How difficult is it to transfer the Tianshu position?
Oh, well, you see, the Tianshu is a rather unique position among the Liyue Qixing. Historically speaking, the Tianshu rarely appears in public. We stay behind the scenes, planning and giving advice, so a public selection process would not be suitable. We also want to keep any prospective Tianshu candidates free from influence by outside forces, so we tend to be as discreet as possible in their assessment and appointment. For these reasons, the incumbent Tianshu typically recommends their candidate of choice, and this is then approved by the other Qixing members.
So in other words, you pick someone, and then Lady Keqing, Lady Ningguang, and the other Qixing appoint them?
Correct. Unfortunately, due to my health, I won't be able to assess every candidate myself. Not to despair, however, because I found someone exceptionally capable to act on my behalf as assessment officer. In fact, I believe you recently became acquainted with her yourself.
Oh? Who is it?
I'm heartbroken. I thought it might take you a little longer than this to forget all about me.
It's Yelan!
Jackpot. Uncle Tien here asked me to assess 3 candidates for him. Fancy joining me? You'll be among the first to get to know the next Tianshu. Might be a good opportunity for you.
What do you think? Paimon thinks so too. It can't be a bad thing to be on good terms with a new Qixing, right?
Alright then. Though, I gotta say, Uncle Tien, you say you're into behind-the-scenes planning? My work's of the covert variety too. Don't you think I might make a good Tianshu?
Huh? Yelan, you want to be the next Tianshu?
I'm not opposed to the idea, but I suspect Ningguang wouldn't let you go very easily after how long you've been working together. So, how about this? If your investigation reveals that none of the other candidates are qualified for the position, I'll recommend you for the job.
Deal. Well, you guys take your time. Everything's all set for the assessments to go ahead. Meet me on the first floor when you're ready. Until then, have a pleasant conversation. Oh, and no need to pay for your tea. As the new owner of this fine establishment, this runs on the house. You're all set?
Uncle Tien seems really worn down. It's like all his energy's gone.
Yeah, it may sound harsh, but Uncle Tien is past his prime. He's not cut out for this anymore. So he's recommended 3 candidates. Their names are Qinwei, Mingbo, and Zhi. Qinwei is a wealthy entrepreneur. Mingbo works at the Liyue Ministry of Civil Affairs, and Zhi is focused on study and travel. Try to keep all that in mind. Of course, it doesn't really matter if you forget, since we'll be assessing them at Yuehai Pavilion in a short while.
Qianwei, Mingbo, Zhi. Paimon should be able to remember their names, but what does the assessment involve exactly?
Let's leave that until we get to Yuehai Pavilion. All right. Heads in the game, people. The stakes don't get much higher than a change in the Qixing. We can't afford to miss anything, no matter how small.
Got it. We'll keep our eyes wide open.
My legs are getting sore. What is wrong with this assessment officer? This is a huge occasion and I don't even get a chair. I've dealt with all kinds of people in my time, but never have I been made to stand while I'm waiting for an appointment.
Oh, I mean, I think it's fine.
That's called being complacent. If you're happy to just accept the way things are, you'll never be able to change anything in the future.
Oh, come on. That's just... Now you're just being unreasonable.
All right, you two. Let's not get into a big argument over this. It's not worth it. Qianwei, that was a bit uncalled for. And Mingbo, cut him some slack. We've all been standing around for a while. It's natural to be getting irritable. Look, how about this? There's no rule saying we're obliged to stand up while we wait, so why don't we borrow some chairs from the guild nearby?
Fine. They're not the best quality chairs, to be sure. But under the circumstances, it would be better than nothing.
It looks like all 3 candidates have arrived. We'll meet them formally soon. Before that, let me run you through the assessment process. I've split it into 2 stages: current affairs and planning, and face-to-face interview. In the first stage, candidates are required to submit a manifesto for Liyue's development. In the second stage, we will ask them some questions in person. Writing a manifesto takes time, so I informed them of this requirement in advance. These are the reports they submitted.
Wow. One of them is really thick.
It's also worth mentioning a stipulation I gave them. Whoever is appointed as the new Tianshu will be expected to implement their plan as put forward in their manifesto. Failing the occurrence of some cataclysmic event, they will not be permitted to change their plan. Therefore, these 3 piles of documents in front of us represent where each candidate stands on key policy issues. There's still some time. Have a skim through, get a first impression of what each person's proposing. I'll be waiting off to the side. Just let me know when you're done. Finished, huh? What did you think?
Everyone took it very seriously.
Of course they did. They have the chance to be picked as the new Tianshu, so you can bet they're putting their best foot forward. And keep in mind, whoever gets in has to execute their plan as written. Nobody wants to have any regrets. That's for me to know and you to find out. We can talk more after the interviews. We'll see the candidates now. Let's do one at a time. Start with Qinwei.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh? So you two are the assessment officers, are you? I had assumed that given the great import of this situation, Lady Ningguang would perhaps be assessing us in person. I certainly hadn't imagined I'd be seeing two entirely unfamiliar faces. I trust you've read through my manifesto? I'd be more than happy to clarify any details you found difficult to grasp. It was written with an expert audience in mind, after all.
Mind your tone, mister!
Relax. It wasn't intended as a personal slight against anyone in particular. I was simply stating a fact. Cloud Retainer? You know this Adeptus? Oh, yes, I remember now. You must be the traveler that people are constantly talking about. With your sterling reputation, you must have a respectable level of erudition. Perhaps you will be able to understand the concepts I have put forward. Yeah, although I shouldn't get my hopes up.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yes. Please introduce yourself.
I'm, Mingbo. I work in the Ministry of Civil Affairs. I've worked there for, 9 years, 5 months, and 3 days. In that time, I've handled, 2,347 cases. I have 12 active cases at the moment. They should be concluded in, 16 days? My current work is related to urban planning, and I'm also responsible for, auditing the accounts. To be more precise, there are 3 parts to the accounts, namely...
Is it just Paimon, or is he not very good at public speaking?
You know what? Let's leave the self-introduction there and move on to some questions.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Hello. Not gonna lie, I'm feeling a little nervous. What would you like to know? You're here to assess me, so ask away and I'll answer your questions to the best of my ability.
Your manifesto is very wide in its scope, but you don't seem to be personally involved in many of the specific fields. How can you be sure that you have the ability to put your plan into action?
Very fair question. I completely understand where you're coming from. But I'm confident in my plan. I've visited many different places, talked to lots of people with far more expertise than myself, and my manifesto is the conclusion of these efforts. Of course, 2 different problems can be interconnected in very complicated ways, and you might reach 2 very contradictory conclusions depending on which one you're focusing on. What I've tried to do is strike a balance. In other words, present an optimal solution to all the problems as a whole.
How do you plan to determine whether you are right or wrong about your proposed solution being the optimal one?
A great question. Well, I'd start by having my colleagues and the secretaries of the Yuehai Pavilion evaluate any proposals before implementation. Post-implementation, it would all come down to the results. If it turned out that my judgment was to blame for poor results, I would take responsibility.
Nice answer. All right, next question.
He seems like a great guy. Everything he said was thoughtful and logical, and he was just...
Here's my take on what we just learned. As you saw, Qianwei is highly knowledgeable. He proposes many excellent ideas in his manifesto which effectively target the big issues. But he is very proud and incredibly stubborn. He doesn't care much about other people's feelings. Mingbo's plan is more thorough and more measured. You can tell he's meticulous in his work, very detail-oriented. But he and Qianwei are otherwise polar opposites. Mingbo is not very articulate and comes across as very timid in conversation.
Perfect summary! Paimon couldn't agree more! You're good at this, Yuan.
Last but not least, Zhi. His manifesto is full of pertinent details, his methodology is sound, and his proposals cover a broad range of fields, which is quite a rare feat. The depth he goes into in each and every area means it can only be a product of painstaking work. Plus, he is modest and good at dealing with people. But what really interests me is that many of his views happen to coincide with Uncle Tien's. Having someone like Zhi take the position would certainly put Uncle Tien's mind at rest.
Great!
We'll see. Let's go back and report to Uncle Tien.
I see. Then it's more or less as I anticipated.
All right, then let me ask this. The ideas in Jur-E's manifesto are very similar to your own. Is there any particular reason behind this?
Oh, I didn't want to say anything when I gave you the list of candidates, for fear of affecting your judgment. But I can tell you now. Those 3 candidates have all studied under me in the past. It's only natural that they share some similarities with me. But Xian Wei went on to focus on his business, and Ming Bo has always been occupied with his work at the Ministry of Civil Affairs. Of all of them, Juri was with me for the longest duration.
Whoa! So how did you get to know them all, Uncle Tien?
Chen Wei was referred to me by an old friend. Ming Bo came to my attention in the course of my work. As for Juri, I was pure happenstance. We first met while fishing. Gradually, as we got to know each other, we started discussing all sorts of topics. Juri came from a poor family, and his parents died when he was very young. But he was a gifted student and a fast learner. He reminded me of a younger version of myself, so I started out giving him a few words of advice when we were out fishing and noticed how quickly he got on. Quite. And now, all of a sudden, he's grown into a mature young man. It's a joy to see, but it also gets one thinking. The young are growing up, and I am growing old. How time flies. No one can escape the cycle of life.
I don't know, Uncle Tien. You still seem in pretty good shape to me. You might have another few years of work left in you, don't you think?
Oh, you. There's really no need to console me. Having less energy than I used to isn't such a bad thing. It just means I finally have a good reason to retire and spend my days doing what old men like me should be doing. Going fishing whenever I feel like it.
Sounds like you sure love fishing, Uncle Tien.
Ooh, there's nothing quite like fishing to pass the time. Ooh, and freshly caught fish, they make the most beautiful fish soup with barely any preparation required.
Fresh fish soup. Sounds tasty.
Doesn't it? Also, some time ago, Juri purchased a very special recipe from an old fisherman. When we've been fishing recently, Juri always brings some extra ingredients he prepared in advance. The addition of these makes the soup taste even more wonderful. That flavor makes for a fond memory.
Oh, can Paimon come next time too? Paimon really wants to try it.
Let's get back to the matter at hand. Uncle Tien, we've reported back. Do you have a verdict?
I appointed you as the assessment officer, and I trust your judgment. Had you not asked me why Juri's ideas were so similar to mine, I was not going to mention my history with any of them. This decision must be guided by what is fair and right. Please disregard all other considerations and make your final decision only after a thorough review of each candidate's talents and capabilities. Remember, you must be thorough.
Understood. Come on, let's go talk somewhere else.
Bye-bye, Uncle Tian. Look after yourself. So, it's gonna be Jiri, right? His manifesto was written well, and he's the best speaker.
Easy. Let's not rush. There's no time limit for this assessment.
Huh? So, are you gonna give them more tests or something?
No, nothing like that. The assessment itself is complete. But let me give you a word of advice. Things are not always as they appear. The biggest no-no in intelligence work is to only get information from the person of interest themselves. The truth is almost always hidden beneath many layers of deception. You have to get information through many different channels. For example, Wenyuan, Shanghua.
Yes?
Lady Yelan, what are your orders?
Ugh! Who are they? Where did they come from?
Did they scare you? These two are Wenyuan and Shanghua. They work for me. As my trusted assistants, they are always standing guard nearby. They also perform various assignments as required. Shanghua is a business expert who gets his information by trading. Wenyuan relies on word of mouth. And there's also Upei, who's not here right now.
That meathead must have been out there on sea surveillance for some time now. Is he all right? I seem to remember that he can't swim.
Nothing can take that guy down. Certainly not a little wind and waves.
Shanghua, visit all the commerce guilds and look into Qianwei's background. Wenyuan, go to the Ministry of Civil Affairs and look through Mingbo's work files.
Yes, ma'am.
So what about Jiri?
Jiri, well, obviously as the most promising candidate, we will be investigating him ourselves. Let's go to the docks first. Lots of people passing through there. You can find out all kinds of things.
If we're looking for information, why don't we try talking to Bulai, the owner of Wanyu Boutique? He does business at the North Wharf. Maybe he has some news for us.
That's actually not a bad idea. Let's go and ask him.
Look, your asking price for this batch is just too high. I can't buy in at this price. How am I supposed to turn a profit?
Come on, hear me out. I'm telling you, this is the single best batch of Sunsetias ever. You won't find anyone who disputes that. I accidentally dropped one into a well, and even the water turned sweet.
Even so...
All right. I'll let you in on a little secret. The boss of Second Life also wants to buy from me, but I haven't responded yet. If you won't take him, I'll just have to partner with them instead, and neither of us wants that.
Okay, well, when you put it that way, I'll accept your asking price. I'll take all your stock. Don't sell a single one to Second Life. Oh, what are you doing here? And to be clear, these Sunsetias are mine. I got to them first. Don't get any ideas.
Actually, we want to ask you about a guy called Jiri. Have you heard of him before?
Jiri? Yes, he's quite well known. I've heard a story about him. They say he was born into poverty. His parents died when he was young, and he was treated cruelly by the local community. One of his neighbors was terribly rude to him all the time, but Jiri never retaliated. And when his neighbor went bankrupt, he even helped support the family. He returned cruelty with kindness, injustice with peace offerings. A gentleman of talent and character, and... how did I not notice him sooner? In fact, maybe I'm not too late. If I could hire him to be the brand ambassador for Wanyo Boutique.
Oh, he sounds like a decent man. We can finally breathe a sigh of relief.
Why are you asking about him anyway? You aren't looking for a brand ambassador too, are you? Well then, in that case, the higher bidder takes the... That's Juri right over there. Why don't we go and talk to him?
Where?
It's him, all right. Looks like he's chatting with Lin Long. Come on, let's follow them and listen in. Try not to let him see you. We want this information to be as truthful as possible.
I'll just go and fetch an employment contract. And hey, don't try and cut me out of this. Hey!
I understand. Let's walk and talk. So, you were looking to buy a wineware set? Oh, now I can see that you're a connoisseur, so I won't bother trying to con you. I trust you understand our shop quite well?
The truth is, an old friend of mine who likes to have a drink now and then. He fancies himself as a man of culture, but doesn't care for needless extravagance. So I thought I might buy him a set of high-quality fakes.
How very thoughtful of you. Leave it to me, then. Come and collect it at Shigu Antiques whenever is convenient.
Thank you very much, Miss Lin Long.
It's my pleasure, Mr. Juri. These days, it's quite rare for someone of your standing to still keep up with their old friends. It's nice to see. I'll be sure to pick out a good set for you. You can count on me. Juri seems to get along really well with everyone. Are you satisfied now, Yelan? Seems like everyone thinks Juri's a great guy.
We shouldn't jump to conclusions just yet. Let's go check out the wharf where he usually goes fishing.
Do we have to? Wait, you're not just trying to dig up some dirt on Juri because you want to be Tianshu yourself, are you?
Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. But hey, if I do become Tianshu, I'll look out for you guys. You'll be able to try all the finest food for free. How does that sound?
We will? Well, come on! Off to the South Wharf we go!
The wharf is as busy as ever. I hear the anglers here sometimes sell their fish to the nearby fishmongers. Let's see what Uncle Soon has to say.
Welcome. What would you like to buy today?
Sorry to interrupt. We're actually members of the, Liyue Anglers Association, and we just wanted to ask a few questions about someone. We've heard about this young man called Jur-E who's supposed to be a fantastic fisherman. Just wondering if you happen to have heard of him?
Whoa! Yeon made up a whole fake identity without batting an eyelid!
Ah, yes, Jury. He's been making quite a name for himself recently. I've got some friends who travel all over the place, and they tell me everywhere they go they meet someone who's heard of him. Apparently, he had a rather tough time growing up. Had to work several jobs alongside his studies to make ends meet. How does that saying go? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Well, if there's anything to that logic, he's sure to be phenomenally successful one day.
Yeah, we think so too!
But I'm afraid your Anglers Association might be in for a disappointment.
Oh? Why's that?
He's good at a lot of things, but fishing isn't one of them. He fishes at the wharf and sells what he catches to me on occasion. His catches are always mediocre. Not terrible, but equally nothing to write home about. If you're looking to recruit some new members, though, I do know a few top anglers I could put you in touch with.
That sounds fantastic. I've got a couple of other things to attend to right now, though, so why don't I come back some other time and we can chat over a drink?
Sure thing. See you.
Everywhere they go, they meet someone who's heard of him. Come on, let's keep asking around.
Here to buy some fish? It's 300 for one or 3 for 1,000. You better hurry. When they're gone, they're gone.
Hello, we're from the Society for Fish Price Research. We'd just like to ask a few questions.
Wow! She switched identity again!
Society for Fish Price Research? I haven't done anything illegal. Stay out of my business.
Please, don't worry. We're just here to conduct a simple survey. We've heard about a certain Jur-E who's been selling fresh fish at low prices in this area recently. Do you know anything about this?
So this isn't about me. You should have said something, you know. I know the guy. I can tell you what I know. I haven't heard anything about him selling fresh fish at low prices, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was him.
Oh? Why is that?
Because he's so poor. His parents died when he was very young, and his alcoholic father still owed a huge amount of debt. No one wanted anything to do with him. He was still a kid when he first came to the wharf. His clothes were ragged, and he had a bandage wrapped around his head. And he managed to survive, thanks to Uncle Tien, who gave him some food. But still to this day, he doesn't have a lot of mora to his name. I mean, he can afford to eat and everything, but you'll often see him haggling with others over just a few mora. So I wouldn't be surprised to find out he's been selling a few fish. It's not like he catches much anyway, so it's not going to affect my business. Don't tell him I said that.
You'd rather he didn't know?
Well, I spoke to him once, briefly, and I just had a feeling that he really cares what other people think of him. I think he has pretty low self-esteem, but hey, it's hardly my place to say anything. What he's achieved already puts most people to shame. And nobody's perfect. I just wouldn't want to upset him, that's all.
I see. Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
Not a problem. And just for the record, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the price of my fish.
The more times you say it, the less convincing it becomes.
Doesn't have a lot of mora to his name. Okay, let's keep going.
Keep up.
Hey, it's you guys! Wait, what's the phrase? Oh yeah, honored to meet you. What brings you to me?
The truth is, we are but newcomers to this territory. We heard tell of a great martial artist, Master Dugu, who knows everything there is to know. Hence, we sought you out to ask for your guidance.
Really? People said I know everything there is to know?
But of course. We also heard that Master Dooku is a kind and virtuous swordsman who never turns away anyone who comes with questions.
Great! So what do you wish to know? Nothing happens on this street that I don't know about.
Now she's lying to a kid.
So, Master Dooku, have you heard of one by the name of Jur-E?
Sure have. You mean that guy that all the grown-ups are talking about these days? I've heard many tales of Juri. For example, I can't remember. Probably because it's nothing that important. I prefer stories about sword-fighting heroes.
Oh, I can completely understand that. Then let me ask you this. Do you remember roughly when the grown-ups started talking about Jur-E?
Oh yeah, I know that. It was about 2 or 3 months ago. Before that, people always used to talk about Juri in a kind of nasty tone of voice. But 2 or 3 months ago, suddenly everyone started to like him. Sometimes he gives me candies, so I'm glad that people are starting to like him now.
Just as I thought.
Huh? What do you mean?
I mean, just as I thought, Master Dooku is indeed as kind and virtuous as the legends claim.
I'm not that great. Oh yeah, one other thing. These days, there's a lot of people I've never seen before talking about Juri stories in the street. They seem like nice people.
Oh, definitely.
Great! So next time I see them, I'll say hi. And I guess I can share some of my candies with them too.
Certainly. You can also tell my friend in Yenshang Tea House about what they're up to. I'm sure my friend would also like to say hi to them.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Well then, fare thee well, Master Dooku.
Until we meet again.
Any of that sound strange to you?
Strange? What was strange about it? Juri seems to have a great reputation. Uncle Soon and Uncle Gao spoke highly of him, and Dooku Shuo seems to like him too.
True, but the issue is, where did his sudden celebrity come from? It almost seems too good to be true.
Sudden? Too good to be true? What do you mean?
So he returns cruelty with kindness and had to work to support his studies. These are the kinds of things that make someone well known in their hometown. But Uncle Soon said even his friends who travel far and wide hear about him wherever they go. That's a little over the top, if you ask me. Do you remember what Dooku Shuo said about Jur-E's stories? Clearly they left him with a good impression of the guy. But beyond that, he wasn't interested in the details. That's the reaction I would expect from any normal person. Plus, there's the fact that all this praise of Jur-E has only been happening within the last 2 or 3 months. His childhood, his studies, the thing with his neighbor, none of these are recent events. So why are these stories only going around now?
When you put it like that, it is kinda strange.
Of course, if that's all there was to it, I wouldn't look into it any further. Jur-E was born into a poor family. Paying people to get his stories out there is within the rules of the game as far as I'm concerned. The problem is, do you remember what Uncle Gao said about him? He's stayed poor his whole life. Everything he's earned he's either spent on studying, traveling, or paying off debts. I don't think he has the mora to pay for a publicity campaign. Right, and that changes everything. It can mean a powerful faction is trying to gain influence over the Liu at Xixing. That's the worst-case scenario. But all too often, the most pessimistic speculation turns out to be closest to the truth.
Someone's trying to gain influence over the Qixing? That sounds serious. What should we do? Even if we asked Juri about it, surely there's no way he'd admit it.
First, we need to find out who's supporting him. Don't worry, I've got a plan. Remember the current affairs and planning stage of the assessment? Since the successful candidate is duty-bound to implement their plan after taking office, their manifesto tells us their stance on key issues. Whoever is secretly helping Jur-E must be seeking to benefit from his actions after his appointment. So, we should be able to find some hints in Jur-E's manifesto on who we're dealing with. Come on, let's get back to Yenshang Tea House. Jur-E's manifesto covers a huge range of topics. Looking for details that don't add up will be like trying to find a needle in a haystack. I'll divide the reports into 2 piles. You take one, I'll take the other. When we're finished, we'll put our heads together. Officially, the assessment is already over, and I'll be expected to announce the results before long. So we have to get to the bottom of this as quickly as we can.
Yikes! We better hurry!
Whatever else Uncle Tian might think of Jur-E, the fact remains that he's one of his favorite students. Any evidence he's left is not going to be immediately obvious. We'll have to look carefully and think critically.
Even though Yelan took half, this is still a lot to get through. Well, we gotta start somewhere. All this reading is giving Paimon a headache. Let's take a break.
Looks like I'm the first one back, as usual.
Oh, hey! It's one of Yelan's little helpers, Shanghua! If you're back, that means you finished investigating Tianwei, right?
You betcha. I visited all the commerce guilds and gathered a wealth of information. Every time they asked me to leave, but I always had another trick up my sleeve.
Don't drag this out. Just tell us your findings.
Yes, Lady Yelan. To summarize my findings, most people who've had interactions with Tianwei will start out complaining about how proud and arrogant he is, but then go on to give a generally positive appraisal of him. The young master of the Feiyun Commerce Guild said that Tianwei appears arrogant, but he's very scrupulous in the way he works. Once he signs a contract with somebody, he treats them fairly regardless of their background.
Who'd have thought?
Is it possible that his reputation is fake? Is there any way you can check the accounts of the businesses under his name?
In theory, that should be very difficult. But here's the thing. I asked around and found out that almost all of Tianwei's accounts are open to the public. Where he buys from and sells to should be confidential business information, but he doesn't seem interested in protecting it at all. Tianwei often sees business opportunities that others don't, but once he's made enough mora off of it, it's like he gets sick of it and releases all of his trade secrets. It's like he wants people to know that they still can't beat him, even if he shares all of his secrets. The fact that someone like that can still make mora is pretty infuriating when you think about it.
What a strange guy. It's like he's not doing business to make Mora, but instead...
To validate his theories. No wonder his manifesto contains so many insights. It's all the result of his first-hand experimentation.
I'm back! Huh? How come you're here?
Why do you think? Obviously, because I possess superior skills and am always one step ahead of the competition. Well, when you're the competition, at least.
You... Whatever. I'm not getting into an argument with you. If I hadn't had something else to take care of on the way, I would have been back long before you. Lady Yelan, I have finished investigating Mingbois.
Well, we're all ears.
The Ministry of Civil Affairs says that Mingbois struggles to get his words out when he gets nervous, especially when he's chatting with strangers. But after a few days of getting to know him, you can pretty much have a normal conversation with him. On the whole, the feedback from the Ministry of Civil Affairs was very positive. He always considers the things that everyone else overlooks.
In your opinion, was the Ministry of Civil Affairs' appraisal of Mingbois at all exaggerated?
I don't believe so. Mingbois is someone who has slowly but surely earned the reputation he has today. According to Miss Yu, the Ministry often gets Mingbois to take a final look at projects before they're implemented. People feel much more confident in something if it has his stamp of approval. Oh, and also, there was once someone in the Ministry who was lying and cheating to try to advance their career. Mingbois gave them the scolding of a lifetime. Apparently, he can be terrifying when he loses his temper. I haven't seen it for myself, though.
Whoa, that's hard to imagine.
Like I said before, things are not always as they appear.
Ah, so that's what you meant by that. I'm starting to get it now.
Thank you both. You're free to go now. So, have you finished reading the manifesto?
We still have a bit left.
I can't see any immediate problems looking at the individual entries. The only one that strikes me as a little unusual is the Cheongshu Pool redevelopment plan. Cheongshu Pool has always been home to many secrets. Plus, Ajdaha once wrought havoc there, so there are even more secrets buried deep underground. At some point, a rumor began to go around that there is great treasure buried beneath Cheongshu Pool. A long time ago, with the approval of the Qixing, a mining team conducted an exploratory excavation there.
So, did they find any treasure?
None. The ruin was completely impenetrable. The only way they could have gotten through the solid rock would have been by blowing it open with a special kind of explosive. The technology wasn't mature enough at that time, so the excavation project was shut down and the treasure became a mere legend. Zhi-Yi's manifesto focuses on solving problems, and this treasure hunt seems extremely risky. It seems out of step with the rest of his plans. Still, this one fact alone doesn't tell us much. Everyone wants to get their hands on this treasure. The treasure hoarders, the Fatui, even local Liyue factions. Did you find anything?
Excavation? Project? Treasure? Did we read anything similar in our house? Oh yeah! Zhi-Yi said the Blackcliff Forge workers should get right of first refusal if any suitable projects come up.
Did he now? Well, that makes everything much clearer. So Zhi-Yi wants the Blackcliff Forge to excavate the treasure of Cheongshu Pool.
Does that mean the Blackcliff Forge is Zhi-Yi's secret supporter?
No, not likely. I've looked into the Blackcliff Forge before. They aren't involved with any powerful factions at present. They do possess some specialized explosives, but it would seem more trouble than it's worth to put so many resources into a risky project like this. Still, since the clues are pointing toward the Blackcliff Forge, we should see where they lead. We may well find something new.
Shenwei and Mingbo both turned out to be completely different than what we thought. What about Zhi-Yi? Is there another side to him too?
Keep up. I'm used to the rain, but you should probably use an umbrella.
This is the Blackcliff Forge. Let's look around for clues.
What's this? A diary?
From the back, it looks like a ledger, but it seems they also use it as a site log. We don't know who wrote it, but it's interesting, don't you think? These newcomers, who could have sent them?
You think they're suspicious?
Yes. Look, it says right there, one of them's already been promoted to team leader. At this rate, by the time the Qingshu Pool redevelopment plan is ready to roll, they'll be the technical backbone of the team. That'll give them the chance to take a lot of liberties. They can copy any secret texts or steal any treasure they find underground. Imagine if we didn't suspect anything. By the time Jur-E recommends the Blackcliff Forge for the excavation project, at most we would maybe do a fresh background check on the place. No red flags if all they did was change some key staff. And even if we decided to vet the staff individually, they'd have had more than enough time by then to come up with fake identities. That's the advantage of planning this far in advance. It was a clever move.
When you put it like that, it all makes sense. If we hadn't found this out, someone else would have stolen the treasure. So, who's really behind all this?
That's a question for the newcomers. But let's start with that worker over there for now.
Excuse us. We want to ask you about the newcomers.
You want them to teach you or something? I gotta say, these newcomers are in tip-top shape. Fast learners, too. They're picking up all the skills unbelievably fast. My only complaint is that they're always going out drinking at night. But they never let us join them. I guess they just need some time to adjust. I'm sure we'll get to know each other over time.
They go out drinking. This area isn't exactly renowned for the nightlife. I'm guessing it's a long trip to the nearest tavern.
You got that right. They tell me they go all the way back to Liyue Harbor to drink at Wanmin Restaurant. It rained after work today, so they actually stuck around at the site for a while. But as soon as the rain stopped, they went out drinking again right away. Hey, you're only young once, right? I say, if they can hack it, let them at it.
Interesting. Let's go talk somewhere else. Looks like our hunch was on the Mora. These newcomers are very suspicious. Drinking in Liyue Harbor, huh? Some cover story. I'll wager they've been going to intelligence updates. Good thing it rained today. It means they'll leave footprints. I doubt they'd give themselves away that easily, but let's follow them and try our luck.
Keep up.
They went that way. Hurry, we gotta catch up.
Keep up.
These footprints are heading towards Liyue Harbor. Maybe we were wrong about them.
Just as I thought. They didn't go to Liyue Harbor. They went that way. The footprints stop here. But, judging from the direction, I'm guessing their destination was that abandoned house. Looks like we were too late. This has gotta be where the newcomers rendezvous with whoever they're working for. But all the evidence has been destroyed. Look at these ashes. Someone was burning documents not long before we arrived.
Could there be anything left? Maybe the wind could have blown the fire out before everything was finished burning.
The odds of that are very slim. It's practically impossible. I've checked. All the paper's been burned. There's only ash left now.
Why don't we wait for them back at the Black Cliff Forge? They've gotta go back there sooner or later.
We can't count on that. Clearly they were based here at one point, but it's mysteriously abandoned now. To me, that says that whoever's behind this has moved them somewhere else to throw our investigation off course.
Darn! Guess this is where our trail runs cold.
Make no mistake, the purpose of our trip wasn't to find any solid evidence. We just need to figure out who's behind Jur-E. I smelled something peculiar the moment I came in. Those newcomers probably thought they'd be safe as long as they burned the letters. But what they failed to consider is that paper and ink from different regions produce different odors when they're burned.
Really? Paimon can't smell anything. Do you smell it?
There is a certain place with a freezing cold climate where there's nothing but ice as far as the eye can see. Some wealthy people there put floral fragrance in their ink as a way of injecting a little romance into their writing. When that fragrant ink is burned, this is the exact odor that it leaves behind. Exactly. The evidence will soon be blown away by the wind, so it's nothing we can arrest anyone with. But it's all I need. Now I know who we're dealing with. I can plan our next move.
Lady Yelan! Oh, thank goodness I finally found you. I thought I'd never see you again.
Who are you?
Don't be alarmed. This is Upei. He's Wenyuan and Shanghua's colleague. I sent him to look into Jur-E's regular contacts. Since Jur-E likes fishing, Upei thought he might know some of the fishermen and sailors, so he took a boat out to sea to ask around. I left him a note at Yanshang Tea House telling him to look for me at Black Cliff Forge when he got back. If there'd been an ambush waiting for us there, it means we'd have had some backup. So, what did you find out at sea?
Forgive my incompetence. I'm afraid I've come up empty-handed. I asked all the fishermen multiple times, but none of them had any interactions with Jur-E before. Then the waves got so choppy I ended up falling overboard. Fortunately, someone managed to drag me out. When I got back, I heard that you'd gone to Black Cliff Forge and might need backup, so I went straight there as fast as I could. Didn't even stop to change my clothes.
Well, Uncle Tien said that Jur-E once bought a recipe from one of the fishermen. Did you hear anything about that at all?
What? That's news to me. No, that's not possible. It's absolutely not possible. Lady Yelan, I'm telling you, I spoke to every single fisherman out there, and none of them mentioned anything about a recipe.
Interesting. Then I wonder how that even more wonderful fish soup came about.
Fish soup? What fish soup?
Nothing. Our priority right now is to find a way to get our hands on some solid evidence. Well, any suggestions? Not a bad idea. Upe, what do you think?
Honestly, I've already tried following Juri, but the guy's too cautious. Never meets with anyone suspicious.
Okay, so tailing's out.
No, we'll still need to tail him. But first, we need to do some groundwork.
Groundwork?
When you've worked in intelligence for a long time, you'll understand that no one can stay on high alert forever. Especially when he thinks he's about to win. Tomorrow morning, I'll announce his victory at Yohai Pavilion. Take a guess what you think he'll do next. Be sure to arrive on time. You won't want to miss the show. It looks like we're all here. Well then, time for me to announce the results of the assessment process. I won't drone on about the importance of the Tianshu role. Suffice to say that Uncle Tian entrusted me with the monumentally important task of assessing the candidates. And now, it falls to me to give him a satisfactory answer.
All of us here know the score. Don't beat around the bush, just get on with it.
Qianwei has many pioneering ideas, but some of his plans are lacking in detail, and he easily gets into testy exchanges with other people. Mingbo is reliable, but not quite ambitious enough, and because of his personality, he struggles to win people over. In contrast, Zhi is evenly balanced across the board, and enjoys an excellent reputation in Liyue. After much consideration, I have decided to recommend Zhi to the Liyue Qixing.
What?
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Honestly, I'm a little surprised to hear my name being announced. In my estimation, all three of us are worthy candidates for the Tianshu position. As your competitor, I've become keenly aware of your great talents. Would either of you entertain the possibility of working with me in the future and taking on some of my workload?
I'll have to see. I'm in a bad mood. This is the last thing I want to be thinking about right now.
I don't mind, as long as I can help.
Okay, well, that's all from me. Zhi, you'll have some preparation to do. It won't be long before you're informed of your official appointment. I hope you will work hard and make Uncle Tian proud.
I will live up to the Tianshu name. On this, you have my word. I should go. I need to pack my things, and then I think a celebratory meal is in order. Would anyone like to join me?
Count me out. I'm not in the mood for a celebration.
Zhi seems pretty relaxed now. This would be a good time to follow him.
Hey, Traveler, tell me something. What exactly does that guy have that I don't? If you can't answer that, I'm not accepting this result.
I, also wouldn't mind knowing.
Oh no, if we get stuck here, we won't be able to leave.
Follow him.
Yes, ma'am.
We finally got rid of them.
Lady Yelan, Jury has gone towards Feiyun Slope.
Follow him, quickly.
So Jury really sided with the Fatui? But Uncle Tian thinks so highly of him. Why would he do this?
Keep up.
Difficult to say, but everything should become a lot clearer when we find him.
Sorry, Lady Yelan. We lost him. He's too good at this. We weren't able to keep following him without being seen.
How the heck did he manage to shake Yelan's subordinates? I guess Juri didn't let his guard down. Still as vigilant as ever.
No, Upe says he's much more relaxed than usual. Maybe it's just how he's wired. Perceptive enough to sense when he's being watched.
But how?
Don't blame yourselves. Let's not forget he was trained by Uncle Tian himself. Evading detection is not an unusual skill for him to have. If I'd asked you to tail Uncle Tian, you'd have ended up at a dead end too. It's fine. So, where did you lose him?
Shinue Kiosk. He only went in briefly. Upe and I were watching outside the whole time. A few moments later, a man dressed in a completely different outfit came out. Upe had a feeling that it was him, but we couldn't get close enough to check without blowing our cover. I figured that if we spooked him, it would undo what we've accomplished today so far. Another option would have been to arrest him there and then, but without any evidence, that would have been meaningless. So I stopped Upe, and I stayed here to wait for you while that meathead went to ask around in Shinue Kiosk.
Good work. The fish didn't take the bait, but that's okay. As long as he's still swimming around, we'll find a way to catch him eventually. The key is figuring out what he's trying to achieve. Let's go to Shinue Kiosk.
Could you explain to me how that works? A guy like him comes in, changes his whole outfit right under your nose, and you don't even ask him about it?
Our customers are free to dress however they please. What grounds would I have to question him?
Okay, fair enough, but didn't you think it was just a little bit strange?
Well, maybe I did, but it still doesn't give me the right to stop him.
Enough. Let's tone this down a little. I'll make this quick. Just one question. What did he buy while he was here?
Oh, he didn't buy anything. He just picked up a bottle of liquor that he ordered ages ago.
A bottle of liquor?
Yes, a very strong kind. Fiery, with a rich flavor. Not something the average customer would order. This gentleman ordered it in person from us a long time ago. He was only here today to pick it up.
Liquor and wineware. I see. Let's go.
Where to?
Shigu Antiques.
Keep up.
Hey, Miss Linlong. Sorry to bother you. Zhi ordered a wineware set from you not long ago, right? We're friends of his. He's been telling us how impressed he is with the quality, considering how affordable it was. So we just had to come and take a look for ourselves.
Sure. Which model are you looking for?
We don't really know a whole lot about wineware. Let's just go with Zhi's choice. Would you be able to show us the one he bought?
Jur-E picked up his set not long ago. As a quality imitation of an antique wineware set, it has the look and feel of a luxury item. Just so you're aware, we don't have many of this model left in stock, and now that Mr. Jur-E has taken one, I'm afraid it may encourage the price to go up a little.
Don't worry, price shouldn't be an issue. I'm sure we can work something out. But I'm just a little hazy on one thing. Did Jur-E's wineware set include wine glasses, or...?
For this set, the wine glasses are sold separately. Minimum purchase is 1 glass, maximum is 4. Mr. Jur-E bought 2.
Okay. Thanks, Lin Long. Seems there's a little more to buying wineware than I first thought. We'll have to mull it over.
Well, don't take too long. We could sell out any day now. All right, see you next time.
This is turning into a real headache.
I'd just like to point out that we have the self-professed Grand Master of Fieldwork here to thank for being wholly incapable of tailing an ordinary civilian without being seen.
It's not like you did any better.
My specialty is information trading, okay? I don't have the physical agility. What's your excuse?
Fair point.
Yelan, so has the plan failed? Oh, if we can't figure out where Jur-E went, there's not much we can do. But why was he buying liquor at Shinue Kiosk anyway? To celebrate?
If so, it's no ordinary celebration.
What do you mean?
First of all, Jur-E isn't much of a drinker. On some level, he hates alcohol because of what it did to his father. If he was just looking to celebrate by himself, he wouldn't spend his meager savings on an expensive bottle of alcohol, let alone buy a pair of special wine glasses. No, this is a victory feast, held in honor of Jur-E's private sponsor. Whoever this person is clearly enjoys hard liquor and has a very high status, hence the need for expensive-looking wineware. Now, where might we find Fatui who match that description, I wonder?
Fatui officials. Should be either the Snezhnayan Embassy or the Northland Bank.
Have both locations surrounded. Take as many people as you need.
Lady Yelan, is it time for us to make our move? If so, you can count me in.
Get with the program, would you? This is a covert surveillance operation. Jur-E may be vigilant, but that doesn't mean the same is true for his drinking buddy. In which case, we don't need to change tactics. Just change who we're following.
Great idea! So we just need to find out who Jur-E bought that liquor for and follow them instead!
But Lady Yelan, if we get caught, this could become a major diplomatic incident.
I'm well aware, but don't you see? Jur-E is gambling everything on this. If we really want to catch him, we're going to have to accept a little risk ourselves. Stick to your orders, and make sure we're covering all other bases too. Anywhere else Jur-E might be going. I want eyes on those locations.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't worry, Lady Yelan. Jur-E may be a slippery character, but we'll keep a close watch on the movements of all Fatui officials.
I'll be waiting for you at the tea house. If I'm guessing correctly, Fatui officials are likely to take action at night. You should go and get ready. Then meet me at Yansheng Tea House. Perfect timing. Wenyuan just sent word that the Fatui ambassador, Yusupov, just left the embassy alone. He's heading in the direction of Qingshu Pool.
Qingshu Pool? That's the place Jur-E mentioned in his manifesto!
It looks like that's where they've arranged to meet. Sensible choice, I'll give them that. Qingshu Pool is always crawling with monsters. Most people wouldn't dream of going there. It's one place they won't need to worry about being seen.
Oh no, we gotta go get them!
Let's go. If my hunch is correct, we just might hit the jackpot this time. This is Qingshu Pool, full of ruins, crawling with monsters. Anyone with any sense steers well clear of this place. I've looked into the place before. There's a worker's entrance somewhere around here. Follow me. There's been some work done on this place in the past, but it's a bit of a labyrinth inside. I can't guarantee we'll be safe once we're underground. The workers left an emergency access route. If we can find it, this will be a much easier journey. Still, be ready to fight at any moment. Any resistance needs to be taken out quickly and quietly. We don't want to attract too much attention.
Don't worry, we're all professionals here. By the way, Yelan, where are your 3 little helpers at?
They have other things to take care of first. We couldn't afford to wait for them, but they'll join us later. Gotcha! Take it easy. Busted! Ready. As I expected, but this shouldn't be too much trouble.
Here to meet Ji. Looks like he went through that door. That must be the emergency access route, right? Come on, let's hurry.
Take it easy. Things are about to get dicey. Quietly now. Busted. Gotcha. Busted. Take it easy. This is the construction workers' emergency access route, but it's closed tight. Trying to break through would be risky. Let's see if we can find another way. Quietly now. Gotcha. Quite. Really? Things are about to get dicey. Busted. Take it easy. Take it easy. Take it easy. The water's flowed into the groove, and now the statues have lit up. Okay, now we should be able to move the statues. Take it easy.
The door is open. Let's go.
We should be nearly at the bottom now. Let's wrap this up. Quietly now. Busted. Here comes the catch.
As a dutiful maid would.
I can tell from the aroma that this is very fine liquor indeed. I'm impressed. Come on, bottoms up. After you, of course.
Oh, sorry. That went down the wrong way. I've never drunk anything this strong before. It'll take me some getting used to.
You'll get there. If you want to stay friends with us, you have to drink with us.
I'll do my best.
You're more of a lightweight than I thought. Already struggling after one glass? I thought you were made of sterner stuff. You certainly kept it together when you were poisoning your teacher's soup. Come on, another round. Less talking, more drinking.
Sure. You didn't leave me much of a choice, though, did you? Just the mention of poisoning sends shivers down my spine. I'm more timid than you realize. Every time I poisoned him, I had to hide away at home for a few days because I was so scared of getting caught.
Look, I know it has not been easy for you, my friend. We appreciate all your hard work. But, I have to say, you really are quite a genius at poisoning people. I mean, the poison we brought from Snezhnaya is as strong as this wine, but you found a way to turn it into an imperceptible, slow-acting poison and came up with the idea of delivering it through fish soup. What was it you said? Oh, yeah. You said the soup's fishy flavor neutralizes the pungency of the poison, and this process even makes the soup tastier as a result. How did you think of that?
It struck me one day when I was fishing. I'm lucky it did. Otherwise, I'm not sure I would have been able to fool Uncle Tien.
You have performed excellently. The Fatui will continue to provide the support you need to consolidate your position as Tien Shu. Of course, this is as long as you continue to do as we instruct. Aside from Qingshu Pool, we also have some other requests for you, which we will inform you of in due course.
Don't worry. Whatever tasks you have for me, I will perform them diligently.
Did you hear that? It was poison! That's why Uncle Tien hasn't been feeling well recently. It's all Jurye's doing. What a nasty guy! Seize him!
Hold on. Did you bring a camera? If not, you can use mine. This is quite a scene. We have to capture it for posterity.
Excellent liquor. We've, seen no progress on the diplomatic front, and everyone has been eyeing up the treasure of Qingshu Pool. It's been a real headache for me. But soon, everything will be taken care of, and I can report back on a successful mission. Thank you, Jurye. I remember when I first saw you. I knew right away that you would make a good partner for us. Hey, do you still remember what I said to you?
How could I forget? You said a lowly commoner like me could never be seen as a serious candidate for the Tianshu, no matter how hard I work. The only way is for you to shine bright in the Tianshu's darkest moment. I think you were absolutely right.
Yes. Under normal circumstances, the gap between you and other people could only ever grow wider over time. Just look at your two competitors. Qianwei had wealth. Mingbo had reputation. But you had nothing. You were just another nobody. And that's why I decided to help you. You know, there's an old saying in the Fatui. Give a starving dog a bone, and it'll guard your home for the rest of its life.
Yes. I cannot thank you enough for your generous support.
You know, the best thing about you is that you do as you're told without complaining. Hey, keep up the good work, and I can assure you, you'll never have to worry about Mora again. Heck, when you're not in the company of the Fatui, you'll be able to throw your weight around as much as you want. How about that?
Uncle Gao said that Jur-E has low self-esteem. Seems he was right. He was worried that whatever advantage he might have now will diminish over time, so the Fatui persuaded him that he should act while he can. Do you have any more film in the camera? Then get ready to use it. Tonight's grand finale should be coming up any minute now. How well this goes for us depends on how Jur-E plays his hand.
Ooh, is there any more alcohol? Go on. Fill me up. I'm in a good mood today, and I'm gonna drink my fill. Make sure to get me home safely afterward.
There's only a little left. Here, I'll fill your glass. If you like it, I can bring you some more next time.
Whoa, this is the good stuff. It is great. Huh? What the? Jur-E, you poisoned my wine? But when?
You seem surprised, Mr. Yusupov.
How could you?
How could I not? I've sacrificed years of my life studying and reflecting to prepare myself for this position. And in the end, I even had to poison my own teacher. You really think I'd put myself through all that just to become your little puppet? I don't want to bow down to anyone ever again. And that includes you.
You imbecile. It's the Fatui who got you to where you are. Do you understand? If I disappear with no explanation, the embassy will come after you. They'll get to the bottom of this. Mark my words.
Do you see the haystack in the corner? Underneath it is a pile of explosives. And next door in the dark room are the 3 undercover agents you sent to infiltrate the Black Cliff Forge. I'm gonna stay here till I see you slip into unconsciousness. Then I'm gonna set this on fire. Once the flames burn through the hay, they'll ignite the explosives, the ruins will collapse, and everything will be buried.
What do you hope to?
I took the liberty of leaving some evidence of your contact with the undercover agents at the Black Cliff Forge. It won't take long for people to join the dots. 2 missing person cases will become one as the truth gradually reveals itself. The Fatui planted undercover agents in the Black Cliff Forge to steal their signature ruin-grade explosives. Their plan was to blow through the solid floor tiles in the dead of night and seize the treasure of Qingshu Pool. But things didn't quite go to plan. Mistakes were made that led to the accidental deaths of the entire crew. Faced with the overwhelming evidence, the embassy won't investigate this any further. In fact, they'll be only too happy to blame it all on a rogue operation by you. It explains why you acted alone, while exonerating the rest of the embassy of any liability. Of course, none of that will have anything to do with me. When all of this comes to my attention, I'm afraid I'll have no choice but to cancel the Qingshu Pool redevelopment plan immediately. I guess then, I'll be Tianshu in my own right, with a clean record and well out of the Fatui's reach.
Jur-E, do you really think you're gonna get away with this? The Fatui has a record of everything. That includes the poison, all interactions between us, even my trip here tonight. After I die, they'll come looking, and they'll get to the bottom of this.
A record? Oh, you must mean the one in the hands of your second-in-command, Theophan?
What? How do you know about that?
Because when you contacted me, I also made contact with your associates. I have Theophan to thank for providing me with the poison I used on you today. He'll help me tie up all the loose ends. After all, your untimely demise comes with a few perks for him. He has been eyeing your position for a long time now.
That traitor! Jur-E, you...
Shh. Relax. It's over. After tonight, everyone gets what they want. And anyone else in the know is either my accomplice or about to be taken out of the picture. Sweet dreams, Mr. Yusupov.
I did a little surveying on the way here and found that you'd left yourself 3 escape routes in case things went south. I have them all surrounded. If you're thinking of trying anything, save yourself the effort. The game's up. We were here the whole time and have pictures of everything. They came out pretty nicely. Want to see them?
The game's up? Forgive me, I'm not quite sure what you're referring to, Miss Yelan. I happened to discover a Fatui operation here, so I approached them on the pretext of joining forces and eventually brought them down from within. If it pleases you, Miss Yelan, I'd be only too happy to have you join me in investigating this matter.
This is how you want to play it, huh? Fine. You do you. All we need to do to convict you is establish that the poison in his system is the same as in Uncle Tien's. Nothing else you wanted to add? Let's leave it there then. Time to go.
One wrong move and it all comes crashing down. I should have been more careful. You followed him here, didn't you? I was so focused on keeping myself out of sight, I forgot he was a potential liability. Let's talk about this, Yelan. I gave you my word that I would live up to the Tianshu name, and that much I can still guarantee.
Your point being?
When I take office, I can guarantee that I will act in your best interests. In fact, all of you here tonight can expect very generous treatment in the future. I deny that I used underhanded methods to get here. But given my lowly origins, what other choice did I have?
You still don't get it, do you? Even now. What do you think? Exactly. Jur-E, clever people can always come up with a good excuse. But while you might be able to get other people to believe you, you'll never be able to deceive yourself. There's nothing wrong with wanting to win other people's respect, but when has Uncle Tien ever looked down on you? He was like a teacher and a father to you, but you chose to repay that by poisoning him. Whatever positive goal you may have started out with, you threw it away in that moment.
That's enough.
Of course. What makes this even crueler is that you managed to convince yourself there was no other way. Uncle Tien was always going to give you this opportunity, even if you'd done nothing at all. Out of everyone in the world, he is the one who trusts you the most. So much that he drank your fish soup without doubting you, not for 1 second.
That's enough! That's enough.
Life is like fishing. It cannot be rushed. Whatever you do, impatience will accomplish nothing. I was just like you once, desperate to prove myself. Only later did I realize things do not always turn out the way you plan. But you have to keep calm to carry on. You're still young. Be patient, believe in yourself, and don't look outside yourself to prove your value. Where's Jur-E these days? It's been a long time since he last paid me a visit.
Maybe he's just busy.
Well, next time, if he doesn't bring a pot of piping hot fish soup, don't let him in.
Whatever you were thinking about, you'll have plenty of time to mull it over in prison. Oh, I almost forgot. If the Fatui find out what happened today, prison might not turn out to be the safest place for you. Trying to have friends on both sides, it has a way of turning everyone against you. But right now, I have an opportunity for you.
Huh?
Sorry, things are about to get extremely busy for me. Let's meet at Yenshang Tea House tomorrow morning. I'll have someone remove the explosives. Then, there's someone I have to go and see.
Need our help with that?
No, it could be dangerous. You should leave this one to the professionals. Don't worry, as long as they're willing to cooperate, this'll be a straightforward deal. Get some rest. See you tomorrow.
Keep up. Keep up.
There is now no poison left in his system. But recovery from the damage already done will not happen overnight.
Dr. Baishu, is my father going to be...
You needn't worry too much. Keep taking the prescribed medicine every day, and a full recovery will take at most 2 to 3 years. It's good we caught it in time. A few days later, and the toxin would have built up in the internal organs. At that point, things would have been much more serious.
How did they successfully secure such a seldom-seen poison? It seems the Fatui are extremely resourceful. Unfortunately for them, they were up against us.
Uncle Tian will be heading off now. Remember to get plenty of rest and avoid overexerting yourself while you're recovering.
Don't worry, I will. Thank you very much. Ah, you're here too? Thank you for all you've done to resolve this situation. I'll have to make some tea in a moment. You simply have to try it. Yes, the exhaustion seems to have gone. My mind is steadily getting clearer again.
Luckily, it looks like choosing the Tianshu's successor is suddenly not such a pressing issue after all.
Hey, Yelan!
My work is mostly wrapped up, so I thought I'd take a minute to check in here. The assessment process comes to an end here, Uncle Tian. In my opinion, Zhi is not suitable for the position. But Qianwei and Mingbo both have potential.
You have my gratitude. People can change their loyalties easily. I've always known this. But whenever it happens, it's still a dismal experience.
Is it just Paimon, or is Uncle Tian not that surprised?
Don't underestimate Uncle Tian. He wouldn't have appointed me as assessment officer if he hadn't had his doubts about Zhi. Normally, the Yue High Pavilion would be responsible for assessing the candidates. Isn't that right, Uncle Tian?
Yes, to be quite honest, I wanted to trust him unreservedly. But I have to be responsible with the position of Tianshu. When I first met Zhi, I wondered if he had approached me with a hidden agenda. So I secretly investigated him. I concluded that he had no ulterior motives whatsoever. He just saw me as an ordinary fishing friend. In the end, even he changed. But I never had any plans to recommend him directly. but I always intended to give him the chance to compete on a level playing field. Family background and fame mean everything to many people, but I don't attach great importance to them. I had no reputation to speak of when I first became Tianshu. I relied on Ganyu's assistance for all manner of things. What I really admired about Juri was his intelligence and resilience.
I have to admit, he's a smart guy, and very cautious. The intel suggests that the Fatui saw him as very low risk, but Juri was still extremely careful with the poisoning. He chose that specific liquor from Shinue Kiosk because the fiery flavor would mask the bitterness of the poison, and he chose to wait until the Fatui official was drunk and had his guard down before delivering it to him. He also installed a secret compartment in the wine pot he bought to hold the poison. As the amount of liquor went down, he'd shake the pot to release the poison from the compartment into the liquor. Afterwards, we also found he had an antidote on him. Had the Fatui official grown suspicious, Juri would have drunk the poisoned wine himself, and then found an opportunity to take the antidote shortly afterwards.
But that's still really dangerous.
Yes. Had he drunk the poisonous wine, he still would have faced serious health consequences despite taking the antidote. He didn't hesitate to put himself in harm's way to achieve his goal.
How is Juri now?
Well, I mean, he is sitting in a jail cell. Like Yanfei says, everyone who breaks the law has to pay the price. Still, he's cooperating. He didn't turn down my offer to strike a deal. I'll make sure there are plenty of guards around to keep him safe from anything the Fatui might be planning.
A deal? Does this have to do with what you said to him when you arrested him?
Yes, Juri's not the one I'm interested in. If he was as far as this went, I'd have handed the case off to my subordinates as soon as I realized. But once the Fatui became involved, things got a whole lot more interesting. I thought I might have the chance to catch a big fish.
Well, did you?
Almost. Unfortunately, it slipped off the hook at the last second.
Uncle Tian, Yeon, what are you talking about? Paimon doesn't understand.
Jur-E colluded with the Fatui to try and secure the position of Tianshu. Or, to put it the other way around, the Fatui made an attempt to interfere in the Tianshu selection process. With Yusupov in our hands and a statement from Jur-E, we could afford to continue with a diplomatic offensive. Also, we'd be able to gain control of Theophan, Yusupov's second-in-command. Then we'd have a pawn in the ranks of the Fatui. Pawns like this can be major assets. They open up all sorts of new options. Why else did you think I was investing so much time and effort into this case?
So, okay, well, did your plan succeed?
We got halfway. The first part went off without a hitch, and we passed all the information on to Lady Ningguang. But when we tried to make contact with Theophan, he was gone, along with all the evidence.
The Fatui must be spying on us. Otherwise, they'd never been able to respond so quickly.
I found out from other sources that the Harbinger, Regrator, got involved. The Fatui's main forces aren't concentrated here. Regrator was only treating this as a peripheral concern. It's a pity that Theophan got away, but knowing which Harbingers are still looking at Liyue is something. It gives me a starting point for my next mission.
I have to ask, Yelan, do you have any desire to take over the position of Tianshu yourself? I remember you showed some interest a few days ago at Yenshang Tea House. In my estimation, you are more than competent.
Oh, that. I was obviously joking. I prefer my current life. There's danger and there's excitement. Although it'd still be a behind-the-scenes role, as Tianshu, I wouldn't have the chance to get involved in anything truly clandestine or face any real danger. All right, I'm done here. Time for me to go. I'm heading off again in a few days and I still have to prepare.
Where are you off to this time?
As you might have guessed, it's for me to know and you to find out. But I'm sure if you keep going as you are, getting yourselves involved in other people's business all the time, you're sure to get caught up in another misadventure before too long. Maybe I'll see you the next time danger beckons. Until then, keep your wits about you. A lot of people are watching you for a lot of reasons. If you have any more questions, just ask Uncle Tian. After the recent turn of events, I'd say he owes you one, wouldn't you?
We've been to so many places lately. What do you say we take a day off from adventuring and just find somewhere nice to relax? Let Paimon think. Where are some nice places we could go? Oh, why don't we pay Cloud Retainer a visit at Mount Outsong? It's been a while since we last saw that illuminated bird. He's always the one popping up out of nowhere and scaring us half to death. Here we are, right outside her place. Do you still remember the first time we came here? We even brought offerings and everything. And when we told her that Rex Lapis had been assassinated, she immediately threatened to squash Liyue Harbor. Paimon thought she'd be impossible to get along with. But now that we've spent some more time together, she's really not like that at all. We probably don't need to bring any offerings now that we've gotten to know her pretty well, right? Still, Paimon's got some snacks around here somewhere, so if she really wants something, we can just use that. Huh? Traveler, did something catch your eye? Whoa, what a pretty lady. Is she also here to visit Cloud Retainer? Yeah, you're right. All it takes is one look and you can tell she's someone special. As expected of that bird lady, really. She must have a whole bunch of Adepti friends from all over the country. Okay, but if we're both friends of Cloud Retainer, then we're basically friends by association, right? Helping you make more connections is a part of Paimon's job as your reliable guide. Paimon's got this. Hello? Paimon is Paimon! And this is the Traveler. Paimon doesn't think we've met, but we're also friends of Cloud Retainer. May we have the pleasure of learning your name, Madam Adeptus?
You two... What is this tomfoolery? Has this shift in form so clouded your eyes that you no longer recognize one anymore?
Wait, you're... Huh? You're the illuminated bird? But you look... human! How did that happen?
Oh, donning human form is scarcely any test of one's abilities. As for your confusion, one merely had no reason to indulge such inclinations before.
So, you're indulging now because?
Well, one has made plans to pay a visit to some disciples at Liyue Harbor. Taking on a human form for such a trip is simply a way to make matters less conspicuous.
You? Worrying about keeping a low profile? You're the one who likes to pop up out of nowhere all over the place! In fact, Paimon can think of several examples, like that time when you suddenly appeared on top of a roof without any warning, or... Hey, didn't we agree not to bring that up unless she asked?
Oh? So you have taken care to follow the proper rules of etiquette after all. Most commendable.
Well, this is all Paimon's got. You don't mind, right?
One has never found oneself lacking in basic comforts. On the contrary, it is the gesture that one values above all else. So long as you've shown proper respect and consideration, the quantity or quality of the gift is but a trivial matter.
That kinda makes Paimon feel a little guilty for trying to keep them for herself. Anyway, where were we before you reminded Paimon about the gifts? right! So by disciples, you must mean Ganyu and Shenhe. It's also been a while since we last saw them. Maybe we can come too!
One planned to extend the invitation even if you had not raised the matter yourself. Shenhe and Ganyu should be quite pleased to see you again. However, one would first inquire as to the reason behind your visit here. You have cause to seek one's company?
Yeah, we just found ourselves missing you and wanted to see how you were doing. We were hoping you'd tell us one of your stories. Who knew we'd run into your human form while we were at it?
Is that so? If there are no urgent matters at hand, then let us make haste for Liyue Harbor. Ganyu is likely still working at Yuehai Pavilion, so that shall be our first stop.
Sounds great! Then let's all go to Liyue Harbor!
Ganyu has been quite busy with work as of late. One can count on one tell the number of times she returns to Mount Outsong each year. Shenhe has also secured employment recently. In her correspondence with me, she wrote that she shall have no need to return for the foreseeable future. Did they think one was so easily mollified? One shall investigate everything with one's own eyes and decide for oneself if their living conditions are satisfactory.
Why is there a chest here?
We're almost at Yuehai Pavilion! Hey, do you think Ganyu will be shocked to see Cloud Retainer like this? Guess we have no idea if Shenhe and Ganyu have ever seen her in this form before. Wait, where did she go? Why are you just standing there, Cloud Retainer?
Quietly now. One shall stay here. You two can go and meet with her.
But why? Isn't it better if we all go together?
If one were to proudly proclaim one's presence, Ganyu would surely profess herself otherwise unoccupied and drop everything to attend to one's visit. One fears that would only result in her staying up all night to make up for lost time. One does not wish to trouble her. Conversing vicariously via you two shall suffice. Do remember to inquire as to her recent well-being. Again, do not mention one's presence here.
Fair enough. Makes sense. Alright then, we'll just pass on your regards and...
Cloud Retainer?
Oh, busted.
Is that lady someone you know, Ms. Ganyu? She is indeed. I'm sorry, Huixin, but could we delay the upcoming meeting for a little bit? I believe my schedule today is quite full. Although, perhaps I could move some work to later in the evening.
Oh, not to worry, Miss Ganyu. I'll make the necessary arrangements right away.
Thank you, Huixin.
It's been a while, Ganyu.
Greetings. What brings you here today? And Cloud Retainer, too. It's been quite some time since I last saw you in this form.
You are quite mistaken. One is not acquainted with this Cloud Retainer of whom you speak. One is simply a mere mortal passerby.
Huh?
Seems she's not buying it.
That was but a simple test. One did not expect you to be able to recognize one so easily, especially after so many years of only seeing one's other form.
But recognizing you is, my responsibility as your disciple.
An apt observation. One was simply passing by while attending to some important business. One thought it would only be fitting to pay you a visit while in the area.
Wait, Paimon wasn't aware of any important... Cloud Retainer's right! We've still got something super important to do, so we can't stay here for too long today.
Oh, is that so? But it's been so long since we last saw each other.
One simply desired to see you and had no intention of interrupting your work. A quick conversation should suffice for today. A more involved reunion should wait until you find yourself less occupied.
I understand. That should be fine.
While one acknowledges the amount of work that you have to deal with every day, one must also remind you to rest. Though Adepti blood flows through your veins, excessive exhaustion will still cause grave harm to your body. It still makes one nostalgic to see you as you are now, respected and independent. When you were young, you oft begged one to cuddle you to sleep when you suffered from nightmares.
Cloud Retainer! Stop!
If you insist. We are running short on time regardless, so one will refrain from going into each and every story. Why don't you continue your conversation? One shall simply stand by and listen.
Wow, you've been to so many new places since the last time we spoke. If you ever need anything, please just come find me at Uehai Pavilion. Also, forgive me for my presumptuousness, Cloud Retainer, but if you plan to continue appearing in this form, don't you think it'd be helpful to adopt a human name?
A human name? You raise a valid point. Considering the sheer extent of one's renown, Cloud Retainer is surely too recognizable as a name.
You really think so? Not that you're not famous or anything, but that famous?
You presume to know the extent of one's illustrious achievements. One would hardly think such a thing to be possible. Nevertheless, Ganyu's advice cannot be ignored. From this point on, when in public occasions, be sure to refer to one as Shenyun.
Shenyun?
I assume that's a reference to the full record of Pristine Pavilion. An Adeptus of years past would rise with the clouds and rest with the moon. They were enlightened and wise, free and unfettered. The writer referenced Master's name to describe her carefree and spontaneous nature.
Oh, that sounds super cool! Paimon feels like only the most powerful of Adepti could rise with the clouds and rest with the moon.
Actually, those lines were originally written to describe Cloud Retainer herself.
Huh? Wait, so you're really that powerful?
And what of it? Did you truly take one to be nothing more than a bird of bigger than average size?
Not exactly.
To be fair, Cloud Retainer rarely speaks of her past accomplishments. The tales of her past can only be found in ancient texts. It is said that once, a long, long time ago, there was a severe drought in Liyue. Left with no choice, many people left their homes, while others spent day and night praying to the Adepti. Although I did not live through such tragedy, simply reading about it is enough to gain a visceral understanding of all the pain and desperation during that time. On top of the drought, a noxious gas also began to spread through the land. If not for Cloud Retainer's efforts, much of Liyue would be nothing more than a barren wasteland today. The books had this to say about what happened. Upon arrival, the Adeptus borrowed the wind to retain the clouds. Immediately, the clouds gathered together, and abundant rain burst forth from the heavens. Drought and plague were both driven away, and the people were saved.
That's incredible!
Mortal records add embellishments to dramatize past events. One did merely what one ought, and even if one had not interceded, The other Adepti would surely have stepped in to help.
Even so, you stopped an entire drought! Can you really control the weather like the book said? Oh, Paimon suddenly has a lot more respect for you. So it was Paimon's bad for calling you Illuminated Bird before. You're not too mad, are you?
How laughable. A name is but a simple label we carry with us on our journey through the world. Why would one be offended by such a trivial matter?
That's a relief. In that case, Paimon will continue to call you whatever feels right in the moment.
Well, that is quite enough ancient history for now. Ganyu, have you had word from Shenhe? One has heard that she procured a job recently. Have you any thoughts on her workplace? And what, pray tell, of her monthly remuneration? Moreover, does she find herself overly inundated with work? Is she allowed time off during Lantern Rite?
That is a lot of questions.
There is no cause for concern, Cloud Retainer. I introduced Shenhe to her employer personally. Wanmin Restaurant's business has been booming recently. So, with Chef Mao being swamped with customers, and Shangling still off and out in search of new recipes, I introduced Shenhe to staff the restaurant.
I see. Most excellent indeed. One has had the pleasure of being introduced to that family. Shangling is kind and astute, while her father is loyal and reliable. One has no cause to believe that they will make Shenhe's work difficult. Now, it is almost time to partake in the victuals of noon. One shall visit Wanmin Restaurant in person and see how Shenhe is doing.
Huh? But didn't you just say that you had something important to do?
Can that wait until after we've eaten?
You may return to your work, Ganyu. One shall see to this matter on one's own. There will be many an occasion to dine together in the future. One is certain the opportunity shall present itself most readily.
Of course, Cloud Retainer. Please take care. Traveler, Paimon, I'll see you some other time.
See you around, Ganyu! Paimon was pretty quick on the uptake there, don't you think? As soon as you mentioned important business to attend to, Paimon realized that you were just looking to cut the conversation short and not take too much of Ganyu's time. Is Paimon right?
No, in fact, it was not an excuse. One is indeed visiting Liyue.
Wait, for real?
The moment is not yet upon us. Still, the truth will be revealed to you in time.
She really seems to be playing up the whole mysterious Adeptus thing right now. Is it because we just heard that cool story about her powers?
You get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, how can I not? Not even fine food is enough to distract from the presence of a fine lady, eh?
Oh, I'm far more interested in getting her details than ordering any dishes. Hey, how about you ask her?
You do it.
No. I think you should. Wait, she's coming.
What can I get for you today?
Greetings, miss. I was just wondering if you'd be willing to...
What would you like to order?
2 servings of Mora meat to go. Good chat. Bye.
Welcome. It's been a while. May I take your order?
Don't welcome us as guests and greet us as old friends in the same line. It's weird.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and this is?
This is Miss Xinyun.
Master?
Huh?
One does not recall ever revealing this form to you before. How were you able to ascertain one's true identity with such ease?
I've trained and lived with Master for more than 10 years. I would recognize you no matter what form you take.
You...
Is something the matter, Master?
Hardly. Hardly. One simply learned of your employment from your letter and came to check on your well-being.
And check out the great food, too!
Indeed. It's almost lunchtime. My apologies. I'm still on the clock and can't talk for very long.
Well, if it isn't the Traveler in Paimon. Are you here for Shenhe? The lunch rush isn't in yet, Shenhe. So I've got things covered for now. Go ahead, sit down and enjoy some time with your friends. I'll let you know if things pick up.
Thank you, Chef Mao.
Cheap and tasty chop suey!
Mira's really got a lot going for it.
It is just as one expected. The owner of Wanmin Restaurant is indeed a most reasonable and accommodating human. Still, the work here entails dealing with quite a varied group of people. Has this been difficult for you, Shenhe?
It's been manageable so far. I sometimes run into strange people, but I have figured out a way to deal with them.
Seems like you've been making progress. So by dealing with them, you mean...
First, I try to talk sense into them. If that doesn't work, I threaten them with violence. At this point, they usually decide they are in favor of a civil conversation.
How should I...
Oh, a sensible plan. One is gladdened to see you integrate so well into human society.
And you, Master? How have you been?
Simply marvelous. Though Mount Outsong has scarcely enjoyed your presence recently, one has hardly found the pleasure of one's own company to be lacking.
I see. Just as expected of Master. I have missed Master quite a bit too. Even though work has been busy lately, I've already had a conversation with Chef Mao about taking some time off soon to visit Master.
Oh, you did? Do make note of such matters in your letters in the future. There's hardly a need to keep one in suspense.
Whoa, her mood shot up just like that.
By the way, Master, since you are in Liyue Harbor, have you had the chance to visit Ganyu?
Indeed. She is similarly preoccupied with her work. There was time only to exchange a few simple pleasantries.
Ganyu told us the story of Cloud Retainer's name. It was amazing. We never knew how powerful she was before.
I see. In that case, allow me to also share a story about Master's past.
Oh?
Is that a problem, Master? I believe this to be a good topic of conversation.
No, not a problem. One was simply caught off guard. But no matter. Please, proceed. One is most curious to see how much of one's own conversational prowess you possess.
Master once participated in a race against Mooncarver. After Mooncarver lost, he insisted that Master's ability to fly gave her a natural edge in such a contest. In response, Master agreed to forego flying in return for being able to use one of her devices in the race. Mooncarver accepted, only to find Master with a brand new device on the day of the contest.
What kind of device was it?
It was a mechanical vehicle made out of iron. What was it called again? Oh, an electro-powered bicycle?
Oh, you refer to the bicyclical Thunder Flashmobile. One spent 49 days conceptualizing and crafting it. It need only be infused with adeptal energy, and it can cover thousands of miles in one day. Oh, it boggles the mind why Mooncarver ever supposed he might best me in a contest of locomotion. Though he sprinted with all his might, he could barely keep up. Alas, the one flaw of my mechanism lay in its weakness against mountainous terrain. One was thwarted mere seconds from victory, when it was thrown off course and failed to make it across the final stretch. Truly a most unfortunate turn of events. Anyway, do go on, Shenhe.
Master, that was the end of that story.
Is that so? Huh. With you gone, one has seldom felt the desire to call upon those old fossils for another contest. What is a race without spectators, after all?
Have you been lonely, Master?
Lonely? Huh. At one's age, entire human generations come and go in the blink of an eye. Even one's own self-directed musings can span several days and nights. 'Tis a most foreign sentiment. The mere mention of it is preposterous. What is the reason for that look upon your face?
It's nothing. It's just... Well, Paimon gained a lot of respect for you after listening to that story of you summoning the rain and everything. But all it took was a few words out of your mouth and it's like you're back to being that illuminated bird again. I was just a little bit confused. Which one of the two is the real cloud retainer?
To me, they are both, Master. One is the master that's widely revered by the people, while the other is the master that I respect and adore.
Huh. One finds oneself exalted yet again with sweet words of praise and flattery of a most extravagant nature. You chose to exalt one with your words, yet you refuse to grace Mount Outsong with your presence for any extended period of time. One would almost question the sincerity of your estimations. This is not to say that your words paint an inaccurate picture. One has always lived by a single ideal. Eschew all action and abide by no rule. One does as one pleases and speaks as one pleases. Others may critique or praise as they see fit, yet one places little weight in such judgments.
She got like... What, 2 sentences of flattery from her disciple? And it's as if her ego is about to burst.
Do you have any empty tables?
Hey there, could we get another fish stew?
I'm hearing more guests come in. I should get back to work.
Alright, good luck with the lunchtime rush, Shenhe.
I'll try my best.
So much yummy food! Paimon's gonna feast!
One is fond of all kinds of delicacies and delights in a multitude of flavors. The dishes here demonstrate no shortage of culinary skill. Their unique flavor profile has left one more than satisfied. In fact, one has been struck by quite the fit of inspiration. One has already begun to conceptualize the next generation of supreme cuisine machines.
Everything's so tasty! A bit too hot at times, but still super tasty.
I'm sorry, miss, but our tables are full.
Shall we try somewhere else, Granny?
But it smells so delightful. Can we really not eat here? My poor legs can't go on for much longer.
Well, you could always check with some of the other guests and see if anyone's happy to share a table.
Okay, I'll ask around. Excuse me. Would you mind letting us share a table with you? There are no empty tables left, so...
Ah, well, Paimon doesn't mind. What about you guys?
Great! Thanks so much. My name is Shuyu, and this is my granny, Yuendai.
Granny?
Yep. Is there something wrong with that?
No, Paimon's just a bit surprised. She looks so young.
Yeah, a lot of people compliment Granny on her youthful looks, but she's actually much older than she appears. Granny? Why don't you take a seat? Come on, it's not polite to stare.
Huh. Have we met before?
No.
'Tis a fated meeting, then. Please, take a seat.
What would you like to eat, Granny? I can order for you.
I want braised earthworms. They always pop up out of the ground after a rainstorm.
No, not this again. Granny, there's no braised earthworms on the menu.
Braised earthworms? Well, that sounds weird. Do people actually eat that? Right, that's what Paimon was thinking too. Need any help?
Help? Oh, do you mean with Granny? Thanks, that's nice of you to offer. Granny has pretty bad dementia, so her memory's getting worse all the time. She's always saying things that sound kinda confusing. Actually, her memory's been bad ever since I was little. But it's gotten so bad lately that I even have to remind her who I am every morning. They died young. It's just me and Granny now. But it's okay. Don't feel bad. Granny loves me a lot, and I love her a lot too. Sure, it's hard at times, but you just gotta make the best of the life you've got.
Wow, you're really tough for your age, kid.
You're too kind.
And me? What about me?
You're tough too, Granny. Plus, you're really gentle, and you're always there for me.
Yes, and it's hardly as if I forget everything. I still remember the important things. Wait, what was that really important thing again? I remember now. It was a dream. I had a dream where everything was dark. Someone was standing in front of me. She told me to come and find her, and that once I'd found her, I would be free.
Huh? That sounds super important. But how come you've never told me about it before?
It was just a dream, so I forgot about it. But I'm in a good mood now, and somehow I remembered it again. You know, I believe I've had this dream a great many times. But just how many times have I had it? Now that I do not remember.
Wait, so you have a reoccurring dream where someone's talking to you? That sounds spooky. Oh, does that mean you're possessed?
Unlikely. Her eyes are clear and her breathing remains calm and level. One sees no signs of possession.
Are you sure?
Who do you take me for? Is one not an adept? Am I not an expert?
You're right. Paimon almost forgot you're the expert. In that case, do you still remember what the person in your dreams looked like, Granny?
Not anymore. Although, I have a sense that she looked rather like me. But not as I am now. My younger self.
A younger version of Granny?
This is just getting weirder and weirder. What is going on here?
As one said, fate must have brought us together. You may leave this situation to me.
Are you sure? So, what are your names?
Paimon's Paimon.
Just Shenyun is fine.
Thank you all so much for offering to help. But first, I'm sorry for asking, but, how do you want us to pay you back?
Oh, we don't need any payment for this.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. But Miss Shenyun, what exactly can we do to help out this granny? All we have to go off is that dream. Where do we start?
That is elementary. Since her dreams portray her younger self, then we shall retrace the steps of her youth. Once we have revisited those places, her memories will likely return.
Sounds like a plan. So, Granny, do you remember which places you went to when you were young?
Why, of course I do. The heavens above, the earth below, the wispy clouds, and the emerald mountain streams.
Okay, taking that as a no.
I might have an idea. Once, when I was really little, my dad told me that Granny used to be a martial artist heroine who saved loads of people from a disaster. If it's true, then maybe they wrote about it in the history books or something.
A martial arts heroine? Oh, Shincho knows tons about Liyue's chivalric traditions. If anyone knows about the heroes of the past, it's him. Let's go find him at the Feiyun Commerce Guild.
Are you leaving already? But I'm still hungry.
I'll go order some food, Granny. If there's nothing on the menu you especially want, I'll just get a few different things.
It seems we must part ways for now. The Traveler and Paimon are bound for the Feiyun Commerce Guild, while Yuendai and Shuyu shall remain here and partake of their lunch. As for myself, I have matters to discuss with Streetward Rambler.
Streetward Rambler? Oh, you mean Madame Ping!
Precisely. Let us meet at Yujing Terrace once you are ready.
Everyone, please, eat to your heart's content. Today is my treat.
It's you two. What brings you here?
Shincho! Great, we found you! We wanted to ask you about something.
That's not a whole lot of information to go off of. I don't know if I can say for sure. I can't pinpoint her identity from your description alone. But considering her age, I am reminded of a nameless heroine who's been featured in various chivalric novels.
Nameless heroine?
That's right. The novels often speak of a great drought from 50 years ago. As the people suffered, a nameless heroine appeared and began to clear away evil spirits in bandit camps. The people idolized her, but never learned her name. All they knew was that she always acted alone. Later, though, she supposedly fell in love with a similarly noble-minded exorcist from Mount Tianheng. They were well matched in more ways than one, often fighting together as a fearsome duo of otherworldly strength. After the drought ended, the heroine and the exorcist left the public eye and began living a reclusive life in the mountains. All that remained were tales of her incredible accomplishments. The way this nameless heroine faded from fame into obscurity later in life is not too dissimilar from Miss Yuendai. I hope that's somewhat helpful.
Thanks a lot, Shincho. We knew it'd be worth talking to you.
It's nothing at all. Just something I came across while reading. I did do a bit of extra research on her story, but it was just out of personal curiosity.
Well, Paimon still thinks that's super cool. Oh, wait, Shincho, if you've read up on her, do you know of any places often associated with her?
Let me think. In the novels, the nameless heroine always appeared near one of 3 places. Wangshu Inn, the area just north of Jueyun Karst, and Qingyun Peak. Perhaps the real-life heroine who inspired the character was also often seen near those 3 places. That would You're welcome. To be honest, I found some parts of the story confusing when I first came across it. If Miss Yuendai was indeed the original inspiration for the character, she may just be able to help me put the pieces together. It's rare for a chivalric hero to fade into obscurity during their lifetime, even after retiring from the public eye. But no one ever saw or heard from the nameless heroine again. There were even rumors that she became extremely ill. I've never understood why someone would go to such lengths to erase themselves from public memory. It's almost as if she was trying to hide from something. There's probably far more to the story than what's been written.
We'll be sure to tell you if we manage to uncover the truth.
That's a deal. Perhaps, behind the truth of it all, there lies a story more fantastical than any work of fiction.
Paimon feels like we just learned so much from Xingqiu. A drought, a nameless heroine, a life of seclusion. Wait, why does the story sound super familiar? Oh, right! There's a drought in this story, too! Xingqiu, are droughts super common in Liyue or something?
Well, they used to be. But people have long since developed methods to prevent them, like by cultivating the soil or digging canals. So while droughts do happen from time to time, they are rarely regarded as true disasters. The drought 50 years ago is probably one of the worst we've had in the last several centuries. The crops withered, the streams ran dry, and the monsters in the mountains became rabid and agitated. Countless caravans were attacked, and people who lost their homes came together to form bandit groups. What started as a natural disaster soon became a human tragedy as well.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, and that's exactly why the nameless heroine was so beloved. She must have been someone of true integrity, to do so much for the people while asking nothing in return. Still, as terrible as that drought was, it was nothing compared to the truly calamitous disasters that befell this land in ancient times. They say that back in those days, disasters were both more severe and more common. Only the strongest of Adepti could hope to dispel the ruin and devastation. Do you have any other questions?
We're good for now. We're just going to head back and meet up with Miss Xianyan and the others again. Paimon hopes that Granny Yuendai will be able to remember more of her past. She used to be a great hero who saved many people. So sad that she can't recall any of it. Anyway, we'll be off now. See you some other time, Xingqiu. Thank you so much for your help.
It's no problem at all. Safe travels.
Keep up. Keep up.
I have recorded the tune that you requested. I hope it will be of help to you.
Oh, thank you. Straight word, Ping. What has amused you so?
Oh, it's no serious matter. I was just reminiscing about the last time I saw you in this form. Time has wrought such change in this world, and yet you appear just the same as ever.
Time has little bearing on one's existence, nor has one keenly felt its effects whilst dwelling at Mount Outsong. Nevertheless, Ping, one would like to seek your counsel on a personal matter.
Oh, why so formal all of a sudden? I must say, you're making me a little nervous. What is it?
Well, the inquiry is as such. Approximately how much more would one need to afford a comfortable life in the harbor? Not unlike the one that you yourself lead.
It does not require as much as you may think. Still, do you mean that...
Clavitainer, Madam Ping! What are you two talking about?
Nothing save for some trivial matters. Have you unearthed any useful details?
Shinto has a theory, but let's save it for when Chuyu and Miss Yundai have joined up with us again.
Do not be troubled, young lady. Here, have some tea.
Thank you so much.
What do you think, Chuyu? Does it match up with what you know of your granny?
According to the story, the nameless heroine eventually fell in love with an exorcist from Mount Tianheng. Maybe that's my grandpa. I don't have many memories of him, but there was this one time I found a box in her attic full of a bunch of weird sigils. I think so too. Granny might remember something once she's returned to a familiar place.
What marvelous tea. I can taste the dew's sweetness in this cup. It's as if I was taking a stroll in the mountains, thoroughly one with nature and at peace.
Is that so? Then please drink as much as you like. There's no need to hurry. At our age, it's always nice to slow down and take the time to appreciate pleasant conversation among friends.
Thank you.
Okay, since we have the time, can I ask you something?
Sure thing. What would you like to know?
I have a secret I want to tell you. Let's go talk over there.
This is a peaceful neighborhood.
Chuyu?
Well, I've been kind of meaning to ask ever since we started talking in the restaurant, but are you guys all adepti in disguise?
Oh! About that.
Well, you guys just seem super special. Plus, I think I might have heard Miss Shen Yun call herself an adeptus.
Oh, must have been a slip of the tongue. Shen Yun, since you were the one who, misspoke, maybe you can explain to Chuyu here what you really meant by that.
One is indeed an adeptus. Is that of some concern to you?
Huh?
I knew it. Well, one time when I was a little kid, I saw a pure white illuminated crane. I had this super high fever, and Granny wasn't around. I was feeling all icky and gross. But then this snowy white crane flew down from the sky. She put me on her back and flew me to her cool Adeptus house and fed me some sort of magic potion. When I woke up, I was already back in my bed and my fever was gone. I really wanted to thank her, but I was too sleepy to stay awake, so I never got the chance. So, I just kind of wanted to ask if maybe any of you have ever met an Adeptus like that?
A pure white illuminated crane? The only two we've ever met are blue and white and black and brown. Have you ever met one that's pure white, Clavitiner?
Never has one met an adeptus with such features. One surmises such a description is but a hyperbolic embellishment that oft results from narrative accounts.
That's weird. Was it really just a dream then? Well, even if it was just in my head, it doesn't matter that much anyway. All I really want is to help Granny recover her memories. I'm really grateful for all your help.
Leave it to us! Now that we know the 3 locations, we just need to visit them one by one. Let's go to Wangshu Inn first.
Okay, I'll go get Granny.
Wangshu Inn. Wangshu Inn.
Do you remember this place, Granny?
Yes. The fish here is very delicious. And if you look out into the distance, you can always spot a bird that's been left behind by its flock. I believe I used to have a room here. It had a window. Yes, I spent a lot of time looking out that window. Which room was it again? Let me look.
I'll come with.
Paimon's still having some trouble understanding what she's talking about, but if she's so familiar with this place, that must mean she lived here, right? Wait, huh? Whoa! Shell! What are you doing here all of a sudden? You scared the living daylights out of Paimon!
I sensed a non-human presence and decided to come take a look. If you're here, then there's likely no trouble afoot. I suppose there's no cause for concern. It's been a while, Cloud Retainer. I see you have returned to your previous form. I have indeed. I fought alongside her in this form on many occasions during the Archon War.
Oh, wow! What was she like during the war? Oh, wait, let Paimon take a guess. Was it anything like this?
Behold, the glory of one's newest invention, the Bang Bang Continuous Fire Mechanism. Hands up and surrender, or be prepared to face the full might of the Adepti.
An impressive imitation.
Paimon knows her all too well.
Even so, Cloud Retainer was not always as ostentatious as you describe. You may be unaware, but her talent with Adepti sigils is just as formidable as her skill in mechanics. The Archon War reached its peak after Guizhong's death. The Cloud Retainer who fought beside me in those devastating battles was taciturn and solemn, only speaking when she had to activate her sigils.
A Cloud Retainer who barely talks? Paimon can't picture it. But what happened after that? If you were so powerful in your human form, why did you decide to take up your bird form again?
Once one had bid farewell to the world of mortals, what use would one still have for such a shape? When dwelling between mountain and forest, away from the struggles and troubles of the mortal world, a mortal form is hardly the most fitting of choices.
After the war, Cloud Retainer retired to Mount Outsong, only revealing herself to the occasional visitor, and always in her avian form. Although I do believe there was an occasion some 30-odd years ago when she decided to don her human form. I believe it was for the purpose of...
One believes there is little need to relive bygone matters.
Granny, are you okay?
Back then, at this place,
Perhaps this conversation should end here. I shall take my leave now. Should you encounter any trouble, you need only call my name. However, given that you are traveling with Cloud Retainer, I trust you are in good hands.
Everyone! I think Granny is finally beginning to remember her past.
Slowly now, calm your mind and recount what has been recalled.
A long time ago, I stayed here to recuperate from my illness.
Huh. So what Shinto said was true! You did fall ill! Was that why you went into hiding?
I don't remember. I'm very sorry, but I can't even remember the name of my illness. The only thing I can remember is that it took a great toll on me, and there was no cure for it. I was confined to my room in Wangshu Inn, where I spent many days unconscious. I'd come to every once in a while and stare at the migrating birds outside the window. It was a solemn sight. I remember crying, but I'm not even sure I knew why. One day, I met a traveling merchant. Upon hearing of my illness, he sold me a bottle of soul-revitalizing tea pills. He told me that the pills were concocted using Adepti blood and could be used to alleviate my symptoms. Sure enough, I made a full recovery. My illness remained dormant for several decades after that.
Wait, but if your illness remained dormant for several decades, are you saying that what you're going through now is just a relapse of what happened all those years ago? And it was all thanks to the pills that you managed to keep the symptoms in check? Paimon's brain kinda hurts. Do you remember anything else?
I'm sorry, I don't. Oh, if only I wasn't so useless.
Hey, you're not useless. You've done so much for me. Watched me grow up. Raised me. How could you say that about yourself?
Oh, fret not, dear child. Granny was just a bit frustrated. That's all.
The recovery of a person's memories is a gradual process. Finding pieces of one's past is always superior to not finding anything at all. Let us make haste to the next location.
Next location. Oh, why don't we go to the area north of Dwayunkars next? There isn't really a landmark there, so where should we start? Oh, Paimon's got it. Let's check out the houses in the area first. After all, if she was there for any length of time, then she would have stayed somewhere, right? Oh, Paimon's really got her thinking cap on today. At this rate, we'll recover all of Granny Wendai's memories in no time. Paimon sees an abandoned house. Why don't we take a break over there?
This place... it's...
Did you remember something, Granny?
I remember. Shuyu. This is where your father was born. It was a moonless night. I had been injured, so your grandpa was supporting me. We fled together with some being in the fog behind us in hot pursuit. I had exhausted my strength when the labor pains came on, so we took refuge in this house. Your grandpa set up a barrier outside, but neither of us knew if it could hold the monsters back. I remember that night. I remember falling to my knees, reciting a prayer over and over. I alone am the source of this sin. Punish me as you wish for forsaking my oath, but spare my innocent child.
Sin? Oath? Did you do something wrong?
I don't know. I don't remember. I only remember praying in the darkness with all my strength until the sun finally rose again and the fog cleared out. Eventually, the house was filled with the sound of my baby's first cries. That baby was your father. I remember. I clutched him tight to my chest and wept tears of joy. It was the first time I'd ever felt such happiness in my life.
My dad?
He was my pride and joy, and so are you, Shuyu. You're so much like him, and I love you both so much. But you're always going to be different from me. Why? Just what did I do?
I don't care what you might have done, Granny. You'll always be the person I love more than anything.
You're too sweet, Shuyu. I'm lucky to have you with me. If not for you, I would not have had the courage to come here, to try to remember what I had forgotten. All right, let's not stand around any longer. There's one place left, yes? Let's go take a look.
If one recalls correctly, the next place should be Qingyun Peak. Yuandai, how fares your health?
I may be a bit slow, but I'll do my best to keep up. I'm sorry to keep everyone waiting.
Climb on. I shall carry you to the top. Oh, such lightness of weight.
All those who grow old grow frail in the end, do they not? First, you lose your memory, then your health. Eventually, you end up losing everything. My only wish is to depart this world with a lucid mind, to free myself of this torment and the burden it places upon others.
Fret not. You have my aid in this endeavor.
We're finally here. Does this place feel familiar to you, Granny Yuandai?
Let me see. How strange. Have I lived here before? When we were at Wangshu Inn and the abandoned house earlier, though I couldn't remember everything, I still felt a sense of familiarity. I could easily picture myself in those places. But here, I don't have that feeling. Perhaps I did come here in the past, but it just didn't leave a strong impression on me.
But did the stories get it wrong then? Yeah, that's true. But they're also the only thing we have to go off of. Paimon was hoping this place would jog Granny Yuandai's memory just like the others.
I'm sorry to disappoint you two.
It's all right. We're not going to give up yet. We'll figure something else out. Just you wait.
Thank you. If only I could remember. Huh? That way. What's that mountain?
Oh, let Paimon look! Huh? Isn't that Mount Outsang? Looks like we've come full circle.
Mount Outsang. Mount Outsang.
Granny, are you okay? Don't push yourself, Granny. It's okay if you can't remember. You shouldn't do something that makes you sad.
Mount Outsang, What am I really?
Mount Outsang holds some familiarity to you?
It does, but I can't go back.
Are you feeling unwell?
My head, it feels all heavy and dizzy. What is wrong with me?
Cloud, Miss Xianyun, Is there anything you can do?
Let us go to Mount Outsong.
But...
Fret not, all will be well. You and I, you have already given more than enough to the pursuit of this endeavor. You may leave the rest to me. I've prepared something that can aid you in suppressing the fear in your heart and restoring your lost memories. It currently resides at Mount Outsong.
Wait, really? When did you do that?
I never leave anything to chance. All will reveal itself when we arrive. Here, this is it.
Huh? But isn't this the mechanism that you were tinkering with when we first got here? Oh, is it another invention of yours?
Precisely. A recent one at that. I am most pleased with the result. I call it the Suspensus Somnium mechanism. It periodically releases a soft breeze, which when paired with a gentle adeptal tune, can help the listener subconsciously relax and even enter a semi-hypnotic state. Soothing agitation and anxiety, relieving exhaustion and insomnia, its potential uses are numerous indeed. And of course, it can also aid in the recovery of lost memories.
Whoa, what a cool gadget! But if you had it all along, why did you keep it to yourself until just now? We could have come to Mount Outsong right off the bat and saved time on a lot of floating.
How preposterous. Had you and I not recalled much of her past through her own efforts, the device would have nothing to draw upon. We Adepti can only help those who first resolve to help themselves. Had she lacked such determination and strength of character, one would have little to offer in way of assistance.
Paimon thinks she gets it now. Hey, what's that other thing?
As previously mentioned, a gentle adeptal tune is required to take full advantage of the mechanism. One secured such a tune from Streetward Rambler. Only with her melodies can the mechanism reach its peak power.
Whoa, Paimon can feel what you mean. Paimon's body feels light as a feather. It's as if she's lying down on a warm patch of grass after a super satisfying meal.
And you and I, is the mechanism helping you to relax? It appears she has already succumbed to the depths of reverie. Come, join one on this side. We shall give her some time to herself.
The drought is over. But why do you look like you want to cry?
The potion. It's nearly run its course.
I've never regretted meeting you. Not even for a second.
Please. Please, no. Have you forgotten? This is the world you left behind. One of gentle breeze and morning dew, perfectly straddled betwixt the realms of heaven and earth. This is your home. This is where you belong. You should have never left. The you of the past, the me from not that long ago, we should have never.
So that is the truth. No wonder this place is so familiar.
Granny!
Granny, are you okay?
Cloud Retainer.
Your memories have returned?
Wait, did you just call her by her full name? Does that mean you already knew each other?
Yes. I now remember everything. Everything.
Granny, please don't cry. I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, don't worry, my dear child. Granny is fine. I'm so sorry, everyone. You've gone to so much trouble on my behalf. It's all come back to me now. The most important thing that I had forgotten was the truth of what I once was.
One can sense the guilt that now plagues your conscience. Reclaiming a truth long buried is sure to come with a myriad of complex emotions. Perhaps one should recount the story on your behalf while you compose yourself.
No, it's okay. Now that I've remembered, I must face my memories head on. Shuyu, everyone, I cannot thank you enough for all your help. I'm ready to tell you my story, if you're willing to listen.
Please, Granny, don't force yourself. What happened in the past doesn't matter. I love you more than anything. Nothing you say can change that.
I know, dear child. My feelings for you are exactly the same. It is for this reason that you deserve to know the truth. Some time ago, I made a terrible mistake. One for which I could never atone.
Is this the sin that you mentioned in Dwayun Karst? What happened?
I am, in truth, not a human being. My real form, one that I held for centuries, was that of a wild crane. I spent many, many years living on Mount Outsong, bathing in the soft breeze and drinking the sweet dew of the mountains. At some point, I somehow gained wisdom and sentience. The Lord of the Mountain, Cloud Retainer, became aware of my existence and began to share many stories with me. She even passed on the secret of cultivation to me. Though she never took me on as a formal disciple, I always saw her as my master. Whenever she took out her tools to work on mechanisms or new inventions, I would also stand next to her and watch. I even contemplated completing my training and becoming an adeptus in my own right. I followed her teachings, and time gradually passed us by. Until that fateful day 50 years ago.
50 years ago?
That's right. Master regaled me with many stories of her past deeds. From them, I learned how she had saved people from a similar crisis in the past. She was the one I looked up to the most. More than anything, I dreamt of becoming an adeptus like her. I wanted to travel the land like she had, relieving suffering wherever I went. But I was still far from being a real adeptus. I possessed no ability to take on human form and fit in with the crowd. Once she learned of my desires, Master prepared a special dose of human mimicry potion for me. She warned me that the potion's effects would only last 10 years, and if I were to fail to return to my original form at the end of that time, I would forever forget my past as a crane and become something neither human, beast, nor adeptus.
Oh no. So that was the source of your dementia all along.
Was it because of Grandpa?
Indeed, I fell in love. Though he was human, he had spent his entire life training on Mount Tianheng. When we met, It was not only my first foray into the world below, but his as well. Although clumsy and impulsive as he was, you'd think he was the real strange bird among the two of us. But still, just like me, he cared deeply about the world and wanted, more than anything, to cleanse it of all pain and suffering. I could not help but fall for him. But my time continued to tick away. Those 10 years passed by in a flash. Yet I did not want to leave his side, so I...
Oh no, what happened next?
I committed an offense. I wanted to stay with him, even if it meant living a life full of pain and suffering, even if it meant that I would eventually turn into a monstrosity. I knew I had betrayed Master's hopes, but I was too ashamed to face her. So I wrote her a long letter instead and asked someone to leave it outside her abode. I was convinced that she would not support my decision, and I lacked the courage to speak to her face to face. In my shame, I fled and tried to, but that was only the beginning of my troubles. I began to suffer from a strange illness. My memories became hazy and confused, and I could no longer keep myself awake. I understood that my pain was caused by my refusal to return to the life I was fated to lead. Along with my memories as a crane, I soon forgot the true cause of my suffering as well. I knew only that I had committed a sin. All I could do was pray for forgiveness, even if I had long forgotten what needed to be forgiven. Looking back, I was beyond lucky to have come across that traveling merchant at Wangshu Inn. It was such a fortunate coincidence that we were there at the same time. If it weren't for those soul-revitalizing tea pills, I probably would have...
Granny, what's wrong?
Coincidence? Why did I ever think it was a coincidence? Tea pills concocted using the blood of an adeptus? No, it couldn't be. Master, don't tell me. Back then, that merchant was actually...
Human custom would dictate the conferral of gifts to be in order when one's progeny is wedded, would it not? Consider the pills a symbol of one's best wishes.
So when I tried to conceal my name and mistakes from the world and hide myself away in perpetuity, the only person I managed to deceive was myself. You knew where I was all along.
One still remembers when you were but a fledgling. You possessed a certain fondness for a particular game. You would hide yourself among a group of wild cranes and ask one to pick you out from among the flock. One found you with such ease every time. 'Tis a truth most evident. One always recognizes one's own, no matter what form they may take.
Wait! Paimon's confused! So, Cloud Retainer, you found Yuendai again? But how? When? And what happened after that?
Perhaps it is now time for one to recount the rest of the tale. One was furious upon receiving your letter. Seized with anger, one set out to bring you to your senses. In truth, one had more than a few misgivings about your chosen partner. As an exorcist, his talent was lacking. One could hardly say his skill with sigils was any better. But soon, one came to appreciate the devotion he bestowed upon you during your illness. He never uttered a complaint and rarely left your side. Unwilling to begrudge someone of such character, one decided to overlook his aforementioned deficiencies, glaring though they may have been. Wishing to grant you a life without regrets, one gathered many divine ingredients and used one's own blood to create a form of medicine. Though imperfect, it managed to suppress the more dire effects of your illness. As for how to deliver the medicine, after much contemplation, one eventually decided to perform the deed oneself. One took great care to alter one's features and select the appropriate attire. Only after meticulous scrutiny did one finally set out for Wangshu Inn. As one expected, you were most ignorant of one's true identity. You showed not even the slightest inkling of recognition. One was quite torn. Should one have celebrated the success of one's disguise, or mourn the loss of your acquaintance? Nevertheless, one would speak to you about another matter, if you are amenable. Even considering your loss of memory, one was simply flabbergasted that you could so easily forget the consequences of consuming medicine infused with adeptal blood. Its proclivity to attract monsters is hardly that complicated of a concept to remember. To think that you tried to travel while weak from sickness and heavy with child. Had one not intervened to clear the fog, all of you would have been lost during the night. Seize the skies! Skyward! Scatter! Skyward! Scatter! Make way for the Adeptus! Those monsters would hardly have pursued you with such ferocity without sufficient incentive. They were likely incited by the presence of godly remains. Said godly remains, in turn, were likely drawn to the trace of one scent on your body. One was, after all, an active participant in the Archon War. Some of the gods were likely shattered by contraptions of one's very making. In the end, one was relieved to see you endure through the night. At the break of dawn, one heard an infant's cry pierce through the air, and one saw you carefully cradle the child to your chest. Although certain mortal matters remain foreign to me, one could not help but be moved by your joy. To see you happy, that was more than enough. Now you should have a complete understanding of the events.
Wait! But if that's true, then the crane who took care of me when I was sick must also be...
Ah, one had almost neglected to recount the absurdities of that tale. Just as you and I troubled one with her antics, so did you give one many a headache. Upon finding you burning with fever, one made plans to bring you back to one's abode for treatment. However, upon seeing one's form, you began to cry, refusing to get on one's back. When one asked you why, apparently you believed that one could not possibly be a true Adeptus, because all illuminated cranes are white from tip to toe. One had no choice but to apply powder to one's body to conceal the variegated nature of one's appearance. You became more than amenable enough when one stood before you devoid of any other coloring. It bears mentioning, however, that as a crane, Yuandai was nearly entirely pure white in color. Though you had never encountered her in that form, you still recognize the essence of her being. Perhaps fate brought you two together in more ways than one. Now all has been revealed. One owes you an apology, you and I. One recognized you upon your very entrance into Wanmin Restaurant. One has always viewed you as a disciple of equal standing with Ganyu and Shenhe. Indeed, one wished to bring your story to a satisfactory end with this visit to Liyue Harbor. Still, one could not reveal your identity right away. Had one simply informed you of all you had lost, all those cherished memories would merely have become the fictionalized account of another. Memories are most meaningful when recalled by those who lived through them. Would you not agree? Even if the process was painful and arduous to experience. Have you any further inquiries?
Master, I must ask, if you found me all those years ago, why did you leave me be, even though you knew about my mistake? Why did you not bring me back to Mount Outsong by force?
One has never regarded your action as a mistake. It was a simple choice, nothing more. When it is time for one's progeny to leave the nest, it is the responsibility of an elder to let them fly free. Yet, when your wings grow weary and the night grows dark, just know that you always have a place to which to return. 'Tis a refuge referred to by many a name in mortal writing. Home, nest, haven. Whatever its denomination may be, its essence remains quite unchanged. One speaks, of course, of a place not unlike one's own abode. One's disciples are free to come and go as they wish, yet the door remains forever open to those who wish to return. One rather hopes you count yourself among them.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You and I. One expects you too have sensed the rapid deterioration of your condition as of late. Have you not? 40 years ago, you chose a path without a future. Though one used one's own blood to provide you with a few decades of extra time, it merely delayed the inevitable. One may have extended the path, yet one was unable to alter its final destination. Even the power of an Adeptus has its limits. Had your condition continued to deteriorate, you would have forgotten your life as a human entirely. In the end, you would have turned into a creature lacking in the ability to even comprehend its own monstrousness. Fortunately, you were able to avoid that scenario by reclaiming your memories. Though one sped the process along by providing some guidance, the result is entirely a reflection of your own effort.
So, what's gonna happen to Granny?
One will help her reclaim her original form as a wild crane. If it be fated, she may recover her sentience one day.
She's gotta go back to being a regular crane, huh?
Master, you've already done more than enough for me. I don't know how I could possibly repay your kindness. This is a better result than I could have ever hoped for. How much time do I have left?
Not long. The transformation is imminent.
Granny? Please don't leave, okay? You're all I have left. Please.
Don't be sad, dear child. Granny has led a wonderful life. My only regret is having to leave you behind. Don't forget to eat well, okay? A growing young lady like yourself needs lots of good food to grow big and strong. Promise Granny you'll take good care of yourself when I'm gone.
I promise, Granny. I'll do whatever you say.
Good girl. Good girl. Don't worry. It's not goodbye forever. Granny's gonna become the most formidable crane in all of Mount Outsung. Granny will train day and night. I won't stop until I can turn into a human without having to rely on anything but my own power. When that day comes, we'll be able to live together again. You and I. How's that sound?
Good.
That's a good girl. Even though we won't see each other for a little while, as long as we both work hard, we're sure to meet again someday.
I'll eat well, Granny. I promise. And I'll wait for you, no matter how long it takes. I'll wait for you to come back.
That's a good girl. Then Granny really has no more regrets. I'm so sorry, Master. Thank you for everything.
You.
Let her be. At her age, crying is a natural, if not fitting, response to such an event. Tears are a necessary part of maturation. Sometimes there is scarcely a better vehicle to wash away the toll of stress and misery. Now that the issue has been resolved, you should also take a moment to relax. Give yourself some time to rest. Take a nap if you must. One will wake you in due time.
We would see each other again, that our days of separation would finally end. and all my troubles would be behind me. If only things could stay this way forever.
A nightmare? Curious. If you're relaxed, shouldn't your dreams be pleasant?
It was a good dream. It's just...
You weren't ready to wake up. Eloquent as one may be, words of comfort are not one's strong suit. You are doing all you can. One can see your strength of will, your fearlessness in the face of danger. And so, whatever your dream may be, one believes that you shall achieve it. Of course, whenever the perils you face overwhelm you, or you become weary, one is always here for you. After all, as an elder, it is only right to look out for the young ones.
Grilled chicken drumsticks. Huh? Was Paimon sleeping just now? Oh, Paimon wasn't talking to you. Paimon had a dream about eating grilled chicken drumsticks, that's all.
Madam Adeptus?
Oh, Shuyu, you're awake. How do you feel?
I feel a little better. Thanks. I know I'll see Granny someday, so I don't feel so sad anymore. Madam Adeptus, could I ask you something? Would you take me in as a disciple?
Oh, and have you reasons for this sudden interest?
I know Granny thought what she did back then was wrong. She felt really bad about it. But without that mistake, I would have never been born. Even though Granny lost her memories, she never forgot to show me how much she loved me. So, I thought maybe one day I could become a cool Adeptus like you and help a whole bunch of people, just like Granny wanted to do.
Upon some reflection, one supposes you are no mere mortal. The fact that Yuendai's blood flows through your veins is proof enough of that. If this is what you desire, one shall make it so.
Thank you so much, Madam Adeptus. No, I mean, Master.
Shuyu, are you sure about this? Paimon's gonna let you in on a little secret. We've seen Cloud Retainer's 2 other disciples, and they pretty much eat nothing but bitter herbs like chin-chin and violet grass. If you join them, you'll never enjoy Wanmin Restaurant's delicious cooking ever again.
How utterly preposterous. One has never enforced such a rule. Every individual must find their own path to enlightenment. So long as one retains a pureness of spirit, one's dietary proclivities are quite irrelevant.
Well, you say that, but Paimon's not seeing any tasty treats up here now, is she?
Although Mount Outsong is rich in natural beauty, its location does preclude access to certain finer mortal comforts. That is precisely why one plans to relocate to Liyue Harbor. Shu Yu shall have the honor of becoming one's first disciple in the human world.
Whoa! You're leaving Mao Outsang?
One has never concerned oneself with the location of one's residence. From the very beginning, one has sought only solace and peace. Yet in the end, all of one's disciples ended up in Liyue Harbor. Ganyu, Shenhe, Yuan Dai, they all chose a life among the mortal world. One has reflected on this fact for many years now. One can only assume that it is due to some failing on one's part as an elder or master. A failing, perhaps, of recognizing what it was they truly wanted. One is most curious as to what aspect of Liyue Harbor could have enticed them to remain there. One could hardly offer an opinion on the matter, but perhaps some time in the harbor will prove instructive. Why are you all so silent?
Paimon is, just a bit shocked, that's all. So, does this mean we can grab a meal together in Liyue Harbor sometime?
One has precious little time to squander. However, if one finds oneself otherwise unoccupied, one would not be opposed to the idea. One will be assuming the identity of a human while residing in Liyue Harbor. You should take care to avoid disclosing one's true identity.
Don't worry, we'll help you keep it a secret. So, when can we expect to start seeing you in the city?
Perhaps in 2 days' time. One has some matters to see to before one's departure. Preparation is the key to success, after all. One plans to put up various items from one's collection for sale. The earnings should provide for a comfortable living in Liyue Harbor. One has already picked out a handsome property near Chuhu Rock. 'Tis no small purchase, but what is mortal life if not one expense after another?
Seems like you've really thought of everything. Then how about we meet up in Liyue Harbor in 2 days?
A sensible plan. See you then. Oh, also, why don't you take this suspense somnium mechanism as a souvenir? Anytime you should feel ill at ease in the future, you may try quieting your mind and sitting in meditation as you listen to its melodies. It might help you find a new perspective.
Awesome! Thanks, Cloud Retainer! Hey, didn't we promise Xingqiu that we'd tell him what we found out? Should we make a trip to the Feiyun Commerce Guild? It's totally up to you.
The value of knowledge cannot simply be quantified in Keep up!
Your concerns are excessive and unfounded. This is but a simple collection of ordinary valuables. Such intense scrutiny is hardly necessary.
To be quite honest, your insistence on that fact is my primary cause for concern. In what way are any of these ordinary? Every single item here could be worth more than everything I own combined. I simply can't risk shelling out that kind of mora without proper scrutiny. If I'm wrong, I would never be able to earn it back, not even if I worked every single day for the rest of my life. I have to be careful. Yes, you can never be too careful.
We're here, Cloud. Miss Miss Shenyan. What are you guys arguing about?
Ah, perfect timing. This ignoramus is questioning the authenticity of my wares. I'll have you know, these items have remained untouched in my personal collection for several hundred years. To question their legitimacy is pure folly.
Several hundred years?
Indeed. They're family heirlooms, you see, passed down over many generations, as families are wont to do.
Yep, they've definitely been around a while. We can vouch for her on that one.
Hear that? Had I not found myself in need of Mora, I would scarcely have had the heart to part with them. Indeed, you should consider it an honor to even have the opportunity to behold them with your own eyes. Doubt their authenticity any further, and I may just decide to take them to another buyer.
Whoa! Please don't go! I apologize for any insult, miss. You see, I know full well that I lack the knowledge to judge the true worth of these items. If you could wait but a moment, I've hired an expert to appraise them for me. He should be here shortly.
An expert, you say? Very well. I will wait for a little while longer, then. Traveler, Paimon, this is my new residence. If you have cause to seek my company in the future, this is where you can find me.
Master! Oh, it's you two again. Hello.
Shiryu! You got a new outfit! It looks great on you.
Mm-hmm. Master made it for me. I like it too.
Huh? You know how to make clothes?
Do I know how to make clothes? With the support of the proper mechanism, sewing is hardly a challenge.
Master, I brought in most of my stuff. There's a few boxes left, but they're kind of heavy, so I just left them outside.
Fret not. I shall help you move them into your room.
Actually, I should probably sort through my stuff a bit first. Everything's kind of messy right now, so maybe you could, not look yet, Master? Yeah, that'd be great.
It appears my young apprentice has her own fair share of secrets. No matter. Do what you must, child. Now, this expert you mentioned, when can we expect their arrival?
Soon. Ah, there he is! Here, allow me to make some introductions. This is Mr. Zhang Li, a well-respected consultant at Wangshang Funeral Parlor and an expert in all manner of valuables and antiques. Mr. Zhang Li, this is Miss Shen Yun. She's the one who's looking to sell the collection of valuables I mentioned earlier.
Huh.
If it isn't Miss Shenyun. It has been quite some time since our last meeting. What a serendipitous reunion.
Indeed, most serendipitous. Have you been faring well as of late, Mr. Zhangli?
Quite well, thank you. I was fortunate enough over the past few days to enjoy both a stroll in the mountains and a fresh brew of tea from the most recent harvest. The experiences left me with such insight and peace.
Huh. So you two are already acquainted?
Indeed. How fortunate we are that fate has brought us together again. If you are otherwise unaware, allow me to inform you that Miss Shenyun is a well-regarded collector and appraiser. She is well-versed in all fields, and oft-celebrated for her impeccable taste. You stand to gain much from this opportunity.
You are too kind, Mr. Zhangli. True collectors pride themselves on their wealth of knowledge and eye for detail. I can say without a doubt that you are foremost in that regard.
Why, you flatter me, Miss Shenyun. It would seem that you are as self-effacing as ever.
Not at all, Mr. Zhangli. Not at all.
While I am loath to butt into this conversation, I must ask, you two already knew each other, and you seem to have quite a cordial relationship. Can I be certain that you're not working together to swindle me? I mean, you never know.
Ha! A preposterous accusation. The heavens themselves would collapse before we would conspire to do such a thing.
Miss Shenyon speaks the truth. Contracts are built on honesty and trust. If that proves to be beyond your capabilities in this instance, this transaction may be taken elsewhere.
Say no more. Let us depart.
I jest. What fool would still harbor doubts after Mr. Zhongli himself has vouched for the goods? Miss Shenyun, wait! I deeply apologize for doubting you. So, Mr. Zhongli, could you please give me a final verdict on the value of these items?
There is no cause for concern. They are indeed rare and precious valuables. Take this mechanism, for instance. Though one may not immediately perceive its purpose, its structure and appearance are exquisite enough to merit it a place in any fine home. The same can be said for this one here. Few could hope to possess an item that so perfectly blends mechanical wonder with geometric grace. I am sure you have heard from your travels that the study of mechanisms is among the most wondrous arts in this world. With that in mind, I earnestly recommend procuring every last item in this collection.
All right. Since I hired you as my consultant, Mr. Zhongli, I shall, of course, trust your good opinion. Then, in that case, Miss Shenyun, I'll take the lot. However, since the final sum is quite large, how about we start with an initial deposit through the Northland Bank?
The Northland Bank? Huh. Oh, you refer to the fiduciary house. Oh, very well.
I fear people only use the term bank nowadays. In that case, I'll be off for now. I'll return to collect the goods once you've received the funds.
Zhongli!
My friends, have you been doing well?
We've been great! How about you? Paimon didn't know you were such a busy consultant!
My days have been quite pleasant as well. I had been quietly enjoying a cup of tea when Mr. Xiaozu requested my services. As for you, Miss Shenyun, I presume you must be looking to settle in the city?
I must say, the name Shenyun sounds exceedingly strange coming from you. Perhaps you could dispense of that particular epithet in further conversation.
Whatever for. Am I not addressing you as a friend should?
Well, that is true, but... Alas, refer to me however you will. After all, a name exists such that others may address you with it. One is hardly ignorant of that fact.
It would seem that you have gained many valuable insights over the years, Cloud Retainer.
One has indeed. One's previous stays were all brief. Now that one has made up one's mind to move and settle, one has gained a much better appreciation of the hubbub and commotion of the city, as well as the people's hard work and ardor. This city is much changed from how it was more than 1,000 years ago.
Not unlike the ocean tides, so too shall the movement of people ebb and flow. From turmoil to peace, enlightenment to aspiration. Human society possesses limitless potential. In another 1,000 years, the scene we witness here may change in ways that are impossible for either of us to imagine.
Alright, that's enough reflection for one day. No need to get all sentimental on us.
You make a valid point, Paimon. Now that the sale has concluded, what say one plays the host as we try some specialty dishes together? One must profess great interest in trying bamboo shoot soup.
Perhaps you have forgotten, Cloud Retainer, but I once tried my hand at that dish. You were at the table on that occasion, so logic dictates that you should have already tried it.
Oh? What occasion was this?
It was a reunion between friends several centuries ago. Alas, you must have been too preoccupied to secure yourself a portion. Or perhaps our other companions simply availed themselves of faster reflexes on that occasion.
Hardly. 'Twas most certainly out of consideration for the others in attendance. In but a moment, one will show you what it means to have a true deftness of hand. It is settled then. Bamboo shoot soup, mora meat, crab roe tofu, triple-layered consommé. We shall enjoy the lot. One has already passed word to Shenhe and Ganyu to make a reservation. It is prime time for them to meet one's newest disciple. Is that agreeable to everyone?
It should be a most splendid occasion.
Shu Yu, come now, it is time to dine. Ah, this gentleman over here is Mr. Zhang Li. He is,
A humble employee of Wangsheng Funeral Parlor. Pleased to make your acquaintance.
Nice to meet you too, Mr. Zhengli.
That should be everyone, right? Let's go!
Sounds good. Actually, Master, have you ever tried Adeptus' temptation? I heard it's impossible to stop eating after even just one bite. You know, 'cause it's super tempting and stuff. Is that true?
That sounds rather implausible. Although with the right preparation, certain dishes can be too delicious to resist.